Here, the heavens were not blue, but a shimmering sheet of gold. Because of that, this vast realm was given a simple name, Golden Sky. Billions of life forms thrive beneath that golden firmament, divided into countless races and species. Among them, 10 supreme races stood at the very top of the food chain. The strongest 3 were Rank 1 Devils, Rank 2 Demons, Rank 3 Ancient Hunters. Fourth place among these was occupied by humans. Humans were known for their cunning and sharp minds. In terms of intelligence, they were second only to devils. But they were also born with a bottomless, terrifying ambition. No matter how much they had, they wanted more. For hundreds of thousands of years, humanity had tried to overthrow the top 3 races and claim the world as their own. Each time, they failed miserably. They were simply inferior in many crucial aspects. Their bodies were not as innately powerful nor gifted with supernatural abilities like the demons. They lacked the unshakable minds and blood memory heritage possessed by devil clans. They did not have the elemental bloodlines of the ancient hunters. On top of that, because of their greed and desire for power, humans had poor relations with almost every other race. They refused to accept being beneath anyone. Yet the things that truly held them back were internal: distrust, scheming, and infighting. Unlike other races, humans were not united. They only stood together when a catastrophe forced them to. That disunity was the greatest reason for the human race's long-standing inferiority. There were 10 great continents in the Golden Sky world. Each continent was controlled by one of the top 10 races, assigned according to the strength and ranking of that race. The largest continent belonged to the devils, and so on down the list. The 4th continent was known as the Azure Winds continent. As the name suggested, it was famous for its azure-colored winds that blew year-round. This was the continent of humans. Human civilization differed greatly from that of the other races. The humans of Azure Wind's continent organized their power structure in layers, dividing the land into 4 levels, plus the wastelands. The wastelands were home to bloodthirsty beasts and also to the humans of the lowest status. The 4 main levels of land were low-level lands, middle-level lands, high-level lands, royal-level lands. Many cities existed within the low-level lands, and they in turn managed the surrounding wastelands. In the middle-level lands, kingdoms ruled over the low-level lands. In the high-level lands, empires held sway, commanding the middle-level lands. At the very top, in the royal-level lands, existed the ancient sects. These sects had histories stretching back countless years. They were the true rulers behind the scenes. They controlled the empires, and through them, the entire Azure Winds continent. This rigid hierarchy was a system established long ago by the ancient sects, and humanity had followed it for ages. Anyone who tried to defy it, whether a city, a kingdom, or even an empire, would be crushed by the powers above them before the ancient sects even needed to act personally. The ancient sects were the absolute overlords of this continent. No one dared provoke them. Everyone treated them with extreme respect. Even when the sects were clearly in the wrong, no one would dare point it out. The division of lands was based on the density and quality of a worldly energy known as chi. Chi was a miraculous energy. For those who possessed proper methods to use it, chi could grant mysterious abilities, extended lifespan, the power to fly, and countless other feats impossible for ordinary mortals. No one knew where chi came from or who first named it. But for as long as anyone could remember, the act of harnessing chi was called martial cultivation, and those who used chi within their bodies were known as martial cultivators. The higher the land level, the denser the chi. Chi density played a crucial role in cultivation speed. Because of that, everyone dreamt of reaching higher level lands, where they could grow stronger, faster. In this world of cultivation, the law of the jungle reigned supreme. Power was everything, and the strong trampled the weak. The 4th level lands, the low-level lands, were also called the lands of cities. Cities that were graded as 3-star, 2-star, and 1-star, with 3-star being the lowest and 1-star the highest. The low-level lands were further divided into eastern, western, southern, and northern lands of cities. The northern and western lands bordered the wastelands and were considered the territories of the Wastelandians, the people who lived near or within the wastelands. In the eastern lands of cities, near the bank of a beautiful river, there stood a two-star city. Colorful flowers grew in rows along the riverbank, painting an exquisite scene. Their fragrance drifted on the gentle breeze. This city was called Riverflower City. Riverflower City was surrounded by high walls, and its main bronze gate opened only for those of status and wealth. For commoners, there was a smaller side gate they used to enter and leave. The city itself was split into two regions, the outer region and the inner region. In the outer region lived commoners and ordinary mortals. In the inner region resided nobles and martial cultivators. The city lord's mansion was also located there. Life was harsh for the poor commoners. They had to toil endlessly just to survive. Some even sold themselves as slaves to nobles, simply to keep living another day. To the nobles, commoners were nothing more than intelligent animals. There was no pity for those born that way. In the outer region of Riverflower City, at its most barren edge, lay the slums. Those who could not afford proper houses could still buy cheap, broken-down huts here. The slums were full of uneven, muddy roads, with trash scattered everywhere. No one came to clean this district regularly, which was why the shelters were so cheap. In a small, muddy valley within the slums, there stood a tiny, run-down hut made from scrap metal. The roof had several holes in it, barely keeping out wind and rain. Inside this shabby hut lived someone who, one day, would overturn the entire structure of the Golden Sky world. Riverflower City, outer region, slums. Inside a small, run-down hut, a broken clay stove sat cold and useless. Beside it were two clean clay bowls, each with a matching clay spoon. In one corner, a few ragged pieces of clothing were folded as neatly as possible, trying to bring some order to the poverty. In another corner, on the hard floor, a little girl lay curled up in a cocoon of blankets. Even though she was wrapped in two layers, her small body still trembled as if she were lying on a sheet of ice. It was clear she was burning with a terrible fever. Her face was the only part not covered by the blankets, revealing her delicate features. She looked about 7 or 8 years old, with snow-white skin. Even while ill, her face was striking. She had an oval face, a thin, sharp little nose, hollow cheeks, and soft, cherry-colored lips. Her big eyes were shut tight, and her fine dark brows were furrowed in pain. But none of that mattered right now. Her complexion was so pale it was almost colorless, like a ghost. She was clearly in an extremely weak state. Suddenly, the hut's half-broken door creaked open, and a boy hurried inside. He was about 1.7 meters tall, thin to the point of looking fragile, with a face so pale it almost matched the girl's. Despite that, his dark blue eyes shone like a starry sky, and his features were very handsome. If not for the tattered clothes and his bony frame, he would have easily drawn the attention of many girls. He rushed straight to the little girl's side and sat down, placing his skinny hands on her forehead and cheeks to check her condition. After a moment, his brows knitted tightly, dark lines forming on his pale forehead. Anxiety and worry filled his expression. He gently lifted the girl into his arms and whispered close to her ear, his voice soft and hoarse. "Little sis, how are you feeling? Look, Big Bro came back with medicine for your cold. Once little Alina takes it, the sickness will go away this time, all right?" His voice was feeble, but every word carried deep concern and affection. As he spoke, he quickly took out a small packet from his pocket. It was wrapped in rough paper. Opening it carefully, he revealed 2 smooth, black pills that looked like large black pepper seeds. Alina, who had been half unconscious, stirred slightly when she heard his voice. With great effort, she forced her eyes open. A pair of beautiful, watery blue eyes slowly appeared, though they were dim and unfocused because of her weakness. Big B bro. Ace, she whispered in a trembling, fragile voice. Her voice was barely audible, but there was a faint trace of happiness and love in it. It warmed her from the inside just to see her brother holding her. But she was so weak that all she could manage was to call out to him with everything she had left. Seeing her like this, Ace's heart twisted in pain. He let out a quiet, heavy sigh. He gently stroked her black hair and forced a faint smile to his lips. He did not want her to see the worry and helplessness in his eyes. Then, with extreme care, he picked up one of the small black pills and fed it to her. After making sure she had swallowed it, he smiled softly and said, "Little Alina is going to be fine in no time with this alchemy medicine. Just rest. Big Bro will take care of you until you're healthy again. Okay?" He was reassuring her, or perhaps reassuring himself. It didn't matter. What mattered was that he was terrified of losing her. In this vast world, she was his only family. As long as he lived, he would never let anything happen to her. A few years since past day, few years in the past day, few years since past. Ace White was the name his parents gave him. They thought it sounded pleasant and easy for others to remember. Unfortunately, when Ace was just 4 years old, his parents disappeared in the wastelands. They had been low-level cultivators who hunted beasts there to make a living. When they failed to return for almost a year, the city officials officially declared them dead. At that time, little Ace was living with his grandparents. When he heard the news of his parents' deaths, he broke down completely. He cried for months, his small heart crushed under the weight of the loss. Watching him suffer, his grandparents were heartbroken as well. As time passed, the sharp edge of his grief dulled slightly. He slowly accepted that his father and mother would never come back. From then on, his grandparents became his entire world, and he cherished them deeply. But their life began to decline about a year after his parents' deaths. When his parents had been alive, money for food and clothing had never been a problem. Without them, everything changed. 3 years after his parents died, Ace turned 8. That was when another tragedy struck. His grandmother passed away from severe fever. Ace cried beside her lifeless body for a long time, his old grandfather weeping with him in silence. After losing his wife, Ace's grandfather could not withstand the grief with his frail body and old heart. He fell ill and passed away 4 months later. Now, little Ace was truly alone in this cold, heartless world. He found work as a dishwasher in the same restaurant where his grandmother had once worked. The owner took pity on him and allowed him to stay on, giving him a place to work and food to eat. The double blow of his grandparents' deaths left deep scars on his young heart. He became quiet and withdrawn, rarely speaking to anyone. He had no friends his age. When he saw other children laughing with their parents, he would go back to his tiny house and cry alone at night, where no one could see or comfort him. 2 years passed in the blink of an eye. In that time, Ace grew a little taller, but his body was still thin and frail. He continued working as a dishwasher in the same restaurant, earning a few copper coins in his daily meals. His eyes, once bright, had become calm and emotionless, holding the maturity of someone far older than his age. Time had carved a deep wound into his young heart. He could not even remember the last time he had genuinely smiled. One chilly night, as he was walking home after work, a faint sound reached his ears. It was the cry of a child echoing from a dark, narrow valley. Ace frowned slightly and immediately grew alert. He hesitated only for a moment, then began to move toward the valley, step by careful step.
Hey everyone, Firescale Audiobooks here. If there's a novel you'd love to hear more of, you can support us on Patreon or Ko-fi. Depending on your tier, I'll make extra parts just for the stories you're most excited about. Usually I can only upload 4 to 5 parts of each novel, but with your support, we can go beyond that. And of course, don't forget to hit subscribe. It helps more than you know.
Ace moves toward the dark valley vigilantly. Cries of a child keep coming from the valley from time to time again. When Ace reached the valley, it was dark. He only saw a little silhouette in the valley's corner with the dim light of the moon. When he hears the crying voice was coming from the little silhouette, he relaxes a little and slowly walks towards it. By hearing the mellow voice, Ace guesses this child is probably a little girl. The little girl hears footsteps approaching her and immediately becomes alert. She stops crying and looks at the owner of footsteps with her teary yet intelligent eyes. She becomes scared after thinking someone is approaching her with bad intentions. She suppresses her fear and tension and starts clenching her small fist. The little girl is ready for a fight. Ace didn't see clearly, but he could vaguely see the little girl stop crying and clench her fist as if she would fight him if he approaches her. He couldn't help but admire her courage. She looked like 4 or 5 years old by her height and voice. Ace guessed with a hint of interest in his eyes. Even with dim moonlight, the valley was still quite dark, so he couldn't see her appearance. Ace walks a little closer and stops 2 meters away from the little girl because he didn't want to scare her any further. Ace lightly said to the little girl, "I don't have any bad motives, and I'm only here because I heard your cries. Where are your parents? Do you got separated from?" Ace asks as gently as possible just to not scare her. But his voice was a little hoarse, as if he didn't speak for a long time, and the little girl didn't answer him either. "It seems she's afraid of me." Ace smiled bitterly. He also didn't expect her to talk with a stranger in this kind of place, either. If it was him in her shoes, he would have done the same, or he might have yelled out loud for help long ago. This little thing was still quite brave to stand silently there and let him speak first without yelling in fear. "Look, it is late at night, and there might be some bad guys near. If you don't want to get caught by them, go to your parents' or house. It's extremely dangerous to be here by all yourself." Ace earnestly warns her he didn't want her to be kidnapped by those thugs around the area. Ace has been crossing this area for almost 4 years and knew just how dangerous this area was. Once he was caught by thugs when he was passing here, and after finding out that he was dirt poor, they only beat him up and let him go. He didn't dare to imagine what would they do to this little girl. Since he has already warned her now, it was her choice to listen or not. Ace turned around and began walking towards the exit of the valley. When the little girl hears his warning, and somehow she could tell this person didn't have any evil intention, she becomes less vigilant, and when she saw this person was about to leave, panic appears on her face, and she became afraid after thinking about something. "W8. The little girl called in her childish mellow voice. When Ace heard her voice for the first time, he was a little stunned and think in bewilderment. How could someone's voice be so beautiful? It was quite normal for him to think like this since he never even talked with anyone, much less a girl of his age. Ace turns around and glances at her again. The little girl noticed his stare and said faintly, "I don't know where my parents are and what they look like." When Ace hears her lovely voice again, he bewilders for a second and asks softly, "Then why are you in this kind of place and crying alone by yourself?" Hearing Ace's question, the little girl suddenly remembers something and starts crying again as if someone hit her. When Ace saw her crying again, he feels little pain in his heart that has been gone cold for a long time. "What happens?" he quickly asks her in confusion. The girl said while crying weakly, "I'm hungry." When Ace heard this, it stunned him for a moment, and unknowingly, a smile creeped out on his face. "She's just a child after all. I have food in my house. If you have nowhere to go, come with me." Ace didn't know why he said that, but seeing a small child like her in this situation, he couldn't help but think of himself for all those years ago. Maybe Ace saw his old, innocent self in her. He didn't know, nor did he have the answer. But for some peculiar reason, he just wants to help her. The little girl immediately stops crying after listening to Ace's offer. She deeply looks at the person in front of her. She couldn't see his face, but from his voice and stature, she could easily guess that he's also young and seemed sincere. In the end, she was still an innocent little girl, so when she thought that he's sincere with the offer, "Okay, let's go," she agrees to go with him. It's not like she can't protect herself if things go awry. Ace has a sigh of relief when she accepts to go with him, because after exchanging some words with her, he didn't want to leave her alone in this palace. Now that she accepts his offer, Ace felt relief for some reason. Ace didn't want to stay here for long, and he turns around and walks toward the exit of the valley. The little girl follows behind him. When they came out, dim moonlight was shining on the street, and both of their faces become obvious. Ace was a little curious and couldn't help but turn around to look at the little girl's face. But when he saw her face, it bewitched him. Her face was oval with milky white skin, a sharp thin nose, hollow cheeks, and thin cherry lips. Her big watery blue eyes were shining like stars, and her long black falling hair was complementing her pale skin perfectly. She was like a sculpture carved by a divine artisan. Ace was instantly captivated by her otherworldly cuteness, and his heartbeat races. She's so cute, this is the only thought that comes to his mind. The little girl also looks back at Ace. The handsome face of the little boy also overwhelmed her, especially his dark blue eyes like a starry sky. He was a little skinny, but nothingness, he was handsome. Suddenly their eyes met, and time was as if it stopped. Both of their faces redden, and they quickly avert their gazes. The atmosphere between them becomes a little awkward after that. Ace quickly began walking toward his little house to hide his embarrassment. The little beauty hurriedly follows behind him. She also didn't know what happened, but that was not something good that she knows. Ace was walking silently in front, but his heart was still pounding, and a sudden thought surfaced his mind as he said to break the strange mood, "What is your name?" The little girl answers after some consideration, "Alina." "Alina, huh, good name." Ace thinks as he feels delighted for some reason. After some hesitation, the little girl finally asks back, "What's yours?" "Ace." He answers without even thinking. After some time, they reach Ace's house. It was a normal-size house, and the only thing that his parents have left for him. He opens the door, and the inside was extremely neat and clean. He's living alone in here for 3 years now. A little boy like him, who survives alone until now, was proof of his unyielding and clever nature. "Come in," Ace said to Alina as he enters the house. Alina follows him inside after a brief hesitation. Ace makes some special dishes for himself and little Alina for dinner. He learned to cook from his grandma when she was alive, and now he was an excellent cook himself. He also has saved some silver coins with all these years of work, and since he lived alone, Ace spent little on himself. So, he could afford to feed her 1 or 2 good meals. Money system in lands of sites or low-level lands. 1 ruby coin equals 100 gold coins. 1 GC equals 100 silver coins. 1 SC equals 100 bronze coins. When little Alina saw those warm dishes on the table, she salivated. Her stomach growls and can't hold herself back any longer. With little care for Ace, who was watching her from the side, she ate crazily. He couldn't help but smile. She seems like a little hungry ghost. After dinner, Ace was about to go to wash the empty plates when he saw little Alina was looking at him with a strange gaze as if he was her father or something. He found it quite amusing and cute. Before little Alina looks at him like he was a wolf who'll eat her alive. But now she looks more cheerful and friendly than before. She said with a cheerful smile, "Thank you, big brother Ace." Her smile was very cute to look at. Ace feels warm in his little heart when she calls him big bro. How long has it been since he feels like this? Looking at the innocent little girl, his eyes feel hot when he touches them. There were tears in them. Maybe they were because of all those years of loneliness, or he finally found someone to talk to he didn't know. He was just happy for the first time in many years. He quickly clears moist from his eyes and said with a warm smile, "You're welcome. You can stay here as well if you like." Little Alina becomes extremely happy to hear this because she has nowhere to go. And this big bro seems quite a pleasant person. Most importantly, he cooks delicious food. How do you get into the city if you didn't have parents or any other relative? Ace finally asks a serious question. How come a little girl came to the city with no harm, and those guards at the city gate didn't even stop her if she was alone? Ace was very confused about this matter. That's why he asked her directly. When she heard the question, she seems to remember something, and her eyes get teary as she spoke in a dejected tone. "I was living with my old grandpa in the forest, but yesterday when I was playing in the forest, old grandpa come to me and said he has something to do, so we have to leave the forest and take me in this place called the city. After we come here, he drops me in that valley where we meet early, and before leaving, he promised to me he'll come back after taking care of the important business, and I have to wait for him there obediently." As she recalls what has happened today, she cries again. Ace was intelligent and could make some guess what had happened after. It seems that old grandpa has abandoned her, or he meet with some trouble doing something. So that's how little Alina was left alone. After crying for some time, little Alina fell asleep. She was extremely tired after her ordeal. For an entire week, he and Alina would go to the same dark valley and wait for her old grandpa to return, but he never returned. Alina became sad, but she slowly accepts that her grandpa has abandoned her, or he was going to do something important somewhere else. That's how in Ace's lonely life came a little sister. He was very fond of her. After some time, little Alina opens up to Ace, and she considers him as a real big brother. Ace always takes care of her and told her stories and played with her. Ace becomes happy again as he spends more time with Alina. Finally, in his bitter life, spring comes again in the face of Alina, and the scars from the past heal. That's how a year passed in happiness and joy. But by the start of winter, little Alina got sick. First, it wasn't serious. With some medicine, she could get healthy again. But after a week, her illness acts again, and it is much worse this time. Ace grows terrified of this as his childhood trauma begins to act, and he panicked because his parents and grandparents leave him one by one, and now his little sister also fell ill. How could he take it easy? If something happens to her, he didn't dare to imagine something like this, so he did everything he could to cure her strange illness. However, after 4 months, her illness didn't go away. It was very strange. Sometimes it would act, and sometimes it would show signs of curing. But no matter what kind of medicine he feeds her, they just couldn't work. Many doctors check Alina's condition, and they all say it was just a cold and she will become better after taking some medicine. But Ace has a terrible feeling about this, and thought it was not the case of a simple cold, and something was wrong with her. After mulling over it for some time, Ace finally makes the hard decision. He sells his parents' house for 10 gold coins. Since normal medicine was not working, Ace bought alchemy pills. Alchemy pills were made by almighty alchemists who were profound in the way of wondrous medicines. But those alchemy pills were very expensive. That's why he makes this tough decision to sell his parents' house. Today, Ace goes toward the alchemy shops in the outer region pill market to buy alchemy pills for Alina. Ace bought 2 black alchemy pills from a famous alchemy shop with 8 gold coins. Since he knew little about the pill market after asking around, he found the shop and bought pills from here. Now he only left with 1 gold coin after he purchased a rundown hut in the slums for 1 gold coin. He was determined to save his little sister, no matter the cost. In a hurry, little did Ace notice shimmering disdain in the shop owner's eyes when he bought those 2 black pills. After Ace left the shop owner's lips move upwards. He smirks cunningly and scornfully. After feeding Alina that black alchemy pill, Ace lets her rest for the night. Early in the morning, Ace wasn't able to sleep in anxiety. He was like this for 3 days now. He checks Alina's condition for the 10th time again, but to his dismay, there is still not even the slightest bit of improvement in little Alina's illness. Ace assumed something was amiss with those black pills because before selling his old house, he inquired about these alchemy pills and knew just how miraculous these pills made by alchemy were. These pills can even heal the illness much worse than his sister's, but this pill is still not working on her. He was unconvinced about these alchemy pills will also not work on Aline like other medicines as well. Ace went back to the pill market again. However, this time he will go to another not-so-famous pill shop of the outer region pill market. Ace spotted a little pill shop much meek than the last pill shop and went inside. There was an old man, seemingly in his 60s, sitting in a long chair behind a small counter. He has white short hair and a long white beard on his wrinkly face. When the old man saw Ace's skinny appearance and then little tattered clothes on his body, he instantly knows he was a poor kid. The old shop owner was a kind-natured person, so he didn't chase him away immediately. He asked with a benevolent smile on his face, "Little brat, what do you want?" Seeing the old man's kind smile and his friendly way of speech, his tight nerve loosens a bit, and he spoke respectfully to the old shop owner. "Sir, yesterday I bought these alchemy pills from a famous alchemy shop near here for my ill sister, but it isn't working on her illness at all. Can Sir please inspect this pill and tell me if it's not what she needs and requires some other pill?" As Ace made his request, he takes out that remaining black pill from his pocket and shows it to the old shop owner. The old man smiled kindly after hearing Ace's little request, and he took the black pill from his hand and examined it seriously. The old man takes a little whiff of his old nose, and his smile instantly froze. He looks at the black pill gravely first, and then at little Ace, who is nervously waiting there with both hands clenched together. Sigh. Old man sighed in pity as he looks at Ace and feels quite bad for this poor little boy. Ace saw the old man's grave expression, and his heart nearly jumped out of his chest because he knew something was extremely wrong. After a moment of silence, the old man said grimly, "This is a fail pill, meaning it has no healing or curing ability in it. Simply put, it's just a piece of trash." Sigh. When Ace heard this, he thought the world around him turned dark, and he nearly lost his sentience. But he forces himself to remain composed because he could tell that old fat-faced bastard has duped him, and he can't do anything about it. So this tension would only harm him more. He can't afford to fall into depression at a time like this when his sister's condition was still unknown. That fat bastard. Ace curses that fat shop owner millions of times in his heart since he can't do anything to him other than curse silently. Ace takes a deep breath and suppressed his boiling anger. Ace could guess this old man is a very kind-hearted person. He appraises the pill, asking nothing from him. Because Ace knew if it was someone else in the old man's shoes, he would have kicked him out of the shop the moment he asked that kind of question or asked for compensation. Because no one wants a poor commoner like him to step into their shops. Mostly rich merchants, especially in the pill market, disdain the poor and common people like him. "Sir, thank you for your kindness. I'll remember this favor in my heart." After sincerely said those words to the old man, Ace instantly bows deeply after that as he asks with a pleading but resolute voice, "Can sir tell me what kind of pill I need to cure my little sister's illness?" Ace wanted to know what kind of pill will cure his sister's ailment, and, most importantly, its price, since he has already lost his money that he won't be getting back. Even if he reports it to the city guard post, he has to raise the money by some other method. The old man becomes astonished and moves by Ace's determined eyes and his firm attitude. "From your description, the illness of your sister resembles nerve-cold illness. It's a rarely seen condition, so you need a nerve-heating pill to cure it. It is a very expensive pill. It will cost you 1 ruby coin. 1 ruby coin equals 100 gold coins." When little Ace heard the cost of this nerve-heating pill, he nearly collapsed there. It's too damn expensive. Even if he had his 10 gold coins, he would have still missing 90 gold coins. It was an impossible amount for a poor person like him. Even if he sold himself. Ace asks while clenching his teeth, "Sir, can this pill be able to cure my sister's illness?" He asked for confirmation one last time. The old man nodded after seeing Ace's firm determination, because if it was some other commoner just after hearing the price of 1 ruby coin, he would have fallen into despair already. However, this little boy's willpower is on another level. The old man replies while grinning broadly, "I stake my Gale Gallows name in it. This pill can cure your sister's illness 99%. When Ace sees the old man, Gale grinned at him. He felt at ease. He nodded seriously and turns around, leaving the old man Gale alchemy shop. While Ace was going back to slums, he saw that fatty bastard shop, and see that fatty was smiling ear to ear as he was counting gold coins. You'll suffer heaven's retribution one day. Ace grinds his teeth in anger and curses him more fiercely in his heart. He wishes he could steal that shameless fatty gold coins. Just as he was cursing and thinking about stealing from that fatty bastard, he reaches his home. Ace just opens the door of the hut when he saw Alina trembling even more and understood her condition was worsening. He rushes to her side and quickly hugs her tightly. She was freezing when he hugs her. Alina was suffering from extreme cold when she felt warmth and immediately knew her big bro was back. A weak smile's bloom on a fairy-like face, and she feels a little better. Ace's eyes fill with tears when he saw Alina's weak smile and thought faintly, "Life is extremely unfair to me. First my parents, then my grandparents, and now my only little sister is going to leave me like them." "No!" Ace shouts out, loud subconsciously. He muttered softly, I didn't want anyone dear to me to even dies again. His voice soared. I want to fight against this unfair life. I want to fight against this unfair, corrupted world. I want to even fight against this damn unfair heaven itself. In the end, there was nothing but bitterness and resentment left in his heart. Just give a damn power, and I'll fight you all who wanted to steal my sister from me. His mind was in a mess after seeing Alina's peaceful expression, as if he was watching those icy bodies of his grandparents all those years ago. All the frustration, pain, and loneliness that was hidden deep in his heart for all those years come out like a tidal wave. Right when he was denouncing and challenging the unfairness of everything, a strange thought surfaces in his mind. It was just a silly thought. It was so silly and out of this world that he laughs with tears flowing from his eyes. He thinks, everyone is stealing from me. What if I have a power that can help me to steal from anything, even heaven itself? Even if I would become a criminal of heaven, even if I would become a criminal of ages, I would still steal from you all if it means happiness of my dear ones. I would steal everything from this life, these detestable people, and this unfair high heaven. Underscore Suddenly, the golden sky of the golden sky world became pitch black, and everything fell into darkness with not a speck of light left, as if darkness was here paying a personal visit to this small world. This sudden blackness alarmed every race in the world. Everyone thought a calamity was going to befall them. Abruptly, inky lightning clouds formed in the back sky. One could vastly view the flashing lightning and heard loud thunderclaps now and then. It was an enchanting sight to behold. This scenario alarmed every top expert of the golden sky world. The inky clouds form a huge dark hole with lightning encircling it, or a pitch-black portal with lightning as a source of energy. No one knows what that huge thing was, but everyone only has one thought in their minds, and that was, a disaster is about to descend. However, out of everyone's expectation, a single dark blue lightning descends with a thundering roar. Boom! A thunder boom echoes everywhere across the world. Something even more absurd happens. That dark blue lightning didn't fade like normal lightning and instantly darts toward a specific direction like a shooting star, but it was more clear for everyone to see. It was as if this dark blue light has a life of its own. It turns into a beam of dark blue light, and it was so fast that it disappeared in a flash. Everyone was flabbergasted by this sudden turn of events, because after that beam of light vanished from everyone's view, the dark sky and clouds returned to normal as if nothing has happened. No one knows what that strange lightning was, but since it was a world of cultivation, they instantly think that it was a heavenly treasure that falls from heaven. Some top experts of every race headed towards the light's direction, but the light was so fast no one was able to catch or chase after it. Its last direction was towards the human continent, the Azure Wind Continent. Top sects of the Azure Wind Continent were included in all this, and when the experts of the ancient sects realized was coming in their direction, they immediately become happy, but they also couldn't catch up with that beam of dark blue light. It quickly disappears towards the lower level lands. Meanwhile, Riverflower City, in Slums area. After a burst of his emotions, this was finally calmed down and felt quite ridiculous after thinking of his absurd concept of stealing from heaven itself. No one can steal from heaven. He sighed helplessly. A beam of dark blue light swiftly enters the Riverflower City. Its direction was shockingly towards the slums area. It was so fast that no one noticed its arrival. In a flash, it enters slums, and its target was a run-down hut with holes on its roof. It stops and hovers above the hut roof, as if it were observing the little boy inside who was crying and cursing heaven while holding a little beautiful girl in his embrace. The beam of dark blue light flashes, and it directly enters the boy's head. Its trace of existence disappears like it never existed. The little boy was none other than Ace. He He was just about to go out to look for a way to collect a Roby coin when he suddenly felt being hit by a melting iron rod and felt his head split apart. He faints on the spot. The last thing Ace remembers before fainting was hearing a sweet, crispy voice in his head saying, "The installation began." After 12 hours of deep slumber, Ace opened his heavy eyelid with some difficulty. He was still in a stupor because of yesterday's incident. However, the next moment the pain faded. When that pain was finally gone, Ace strangely felt refreshed for some unknown reason. Ace remembers what has happened yesterday, when a sudden pain attacked him and he fainted after that. That was strange. Did I get punished by heaven for blaspheming it? Ace whiffled his head as he smiled wryly. Maybe it was from the stress. After all, I didn't sleep for 3 days. Ace quickly get rid of that ridiculous notion, because if heaven was so open-handed to even punish him, then this world didn't have any evil. While assuming about what has occurred, Ace caught the sight of his sleeping little sister that was sound asleep in his embrace. Yet her body was still icy cold. Ace's expression instantly darkened when he thought about 1 ruby coin he needed to earn as soon as possible for that pill. 1 ruby coin equals 100 gold coins. Ace was about to get ready to go out into the city and find some task with high pay. He has some idea where he should go to earn 1 ruby coin. "I have to go outside the city for hunting," mumbled Ace to himself. Ace was just about to get up from the rug when he heard a familiar yet unfamiliar icy voice in his head. Installation complete. Ace was frightened and nearly jumped when out of nowhere he heard the sweet yet crisp voice of a lady. He hurriedly looks around himself, but no one was there except Alina. Ace holds her firmly and keeps searching his surrounding vigilantly, as if he was facing an enemy. But no matter how much he looks, no one was there. Ace abruptly remembers the voice he hears was the same voice he heard before he loses consciousness. What is this voice, and where is it coming from? Am I haunted by a ghost? When he thought of a ghost, he became pale with fright. Ace has heard plenty of stories about ghosts and evil spirits from the restaurant owner where he works. That old restaurant owner always tells his grandson stories about ghosts, like once a ghost possessed a kid and then eats his soul. Ace always heard these kinds of stories with great interest, and now he was extremely afraid of ghosts and evil spirits. He was going to chant some prayers that he once heard from the old restaurant owner when the emotionless voice buzzed in his head again. "Congratulations. The Eternal Thief system selects you as a host." What in the hell? He was going to swear out loud, but forced to stop himself because he was holding Alina in his one arm, and he didn't want to shake her. Ace immediately starts chanting the old owner's prayers in his head like crazy. "Oh, Gidieli Deek Heel." Even he didn't know what these words meant, but he heard the old restaurant owner say, "When you see a ghost, just chant them, and the ghost will be gone forever." In 10 seconds, Ace didn't hear the voice, and he thought that the restaurant owner's chants were working. He becomes a little smug and was just about to celebrate his grand victory against the lady ghost when the lady's voice sounded again in his head. Host current privilege is at level 0. The details about level 0 privilege are about to transfer into host brain. Transfer begin. Please brace yourself, host. This time the voice didn't sound emotionless as before. It sounds like it's chuckling at Ace's simplicity. Ace was scared out of his wits after hearing this ghost lady voice again and was just about to run from the hut with Alina in arms when abruptly he felt something drill into his brain. Ace instantly held his head because of extreme pain, but he didn't scream because Alina was still close to him. Even in this extreme pain, he was still thinking about his little sister's well-being. Ace's teeth were clenched tightly. This pain was just like yesterday's, but this time, it wasn't intolerable. After 10 seconds, the pain subjugated and was finally gone. Ace regains his senses again. He didn't care about anything right now, because this was his only chance to escape. He stands up with some difficulty, but his expression was determined. He would take his little sister out of this ghost house to safety, no matter what. Ace's heavy steps halted when he feels something foreign in his brain, and the moment his focus was shifted on that foreign part, it converts into strange memories. These strange memories became Ace's. Ace was very confused about this sudden turn of events. Didn't ghosts supposed to eat souls and possess the bodies? Those foreign memories settled, and now he can appraise them. Ace didn't know why he tapped into those memories, but a voice deep inside kept telling him to see what it was, and when he did, Ace was startled at first, but the next moment he becomes astonished, and his astonishment turns into hysteria. Ace was so shocked that he nearly forgets about his worries and his ill little sister who was still in his embrace. After some time, he regains his sense. Ace glanced around his surrounding fiercely as if he was confirming something. After making sure that there was no one in or outside the hut, he finally relaxed a little. After fully calmed down, his emotions set down beside his sister. But no matter what he does, he can't calm down his wildly pounding heart that was beating like a crazy drum. Ace didn't dare to believe in those absurd memories, but deep down he wanted to confirm and truly wish that all of it was true. That's why he first checked his surroundings, because if these memories were real, then he didn't dare to imagine what would he do. Ace takes a deep breath and said in a low voice, "Status." The moment he said that word, something unimaginable happens. A transparent black block begins to form in front of Ace's eyes. When it was completely formed, it was black, but there was silver strange markings imprint on it, and on top of that black transparent block was engraved dark blue markings that were glowing in golden color. The black block is called a panel. These markings were a language that was foreign to this world, and it's called the ancient language of gods. Now, only Ace can read it or understand it in this entire world, because he learns it with his level 0 privileges memories. He can even speak it as if he has been learning it from birth. After seeing the status thing was real, Ace felt extreme happiness and immense relief. If it wasn't for his sister and worried about his surrounding areas, he would have laughed like a maniac. He calms down, but there were tears of happiness in his eyes as he read status. Eternal Thief System. Main panel. Host, Ace White. Race, human, no bloodline. Heaven, first heaven, mortal sky, heaven. Cultivation level of first heaven. Martial Cultivation Mortal. EXP 0/50. EXP equals experience points. Soul Cultivation Mortal. SP 0/20. SP equals soul points. Thief points TP 15. Current mission 0. When Ace sees his status, it stunned him because there were so many details. Then he looked at the top right corner of the main panel. There was a silver symbol that was glowing. It looks like a cape. It was his status panel symbol. Then his focus turned to the third column of his status and was extremely confused by the word first heaven. Was there more heavens? He wondered. The name of the first heaven is Mortal Sky Heaven. Ace couldn't help but think that he was just a frog in the well. He never even went outside of the Riverflower City, and now he suddenly learns the grand name of heaven itself. It was a very special feeling. As he was looking at his other status columns, he saw his cultivation status and smiled bitterly. He was just a mortal. When he saw experience points and soul points, he was confused. What are these for? Ace transmitted his voice in his mind. This is a method to communicate with the system treasure he found in memories. EXP and SP are amounts of chi required for the host to reach the next level of cultivation. Ace wasn't afraid of this icy voice anymore, because he was the master of this treasure called system. However, what kind of treasure it was he does not know. But this system even knows about heaven's name. This system treasure is not from this world. This was his conclusion. How do I collect this EXP and SP then? System answer again, but different this time. Host has to find out by himself. Ace was dumbfounded by the answer. He asked a different question this time after some thinking. Then what are thief points, TP? This was the only status that was not 0 for the start, and he even had 15 of them. He was thrilled about this, but there was a thief word there in it, and he felt uneasy for some reason. Host can earn thief points, TP, after every successful honorable thievery. Thief points are the currency of system. What do I mean by stealing or thievery? Do you want me to become a thief? And since when did robbing someone become honorable? Do you break yourself? Ace was bewildered. He was just 12 years old, but he never did anything immoral like stealing. Even if he was poor, you will never do this kind of thing. Now, this treasure telling him to steal, and it even dares to say it's honorable, he nearly went frantic. Host carefully read the name of system. It said, giving no further explanation. Now that Ace was calmed down, he focuses on the top of the transparent black panel. On there were written only words in dark blue color with a golden glow, Eternal Thief System. Those words were extremely dominated, and there was some kind of power hidden in them. When Ace read the full name of this system treasure, there was also thief in there. He rubs his eyes and saw it again, making sure he didn't make any mistake, but no matter how many times he saw it, there was still thief there. Ace's happiness at obtaining a supreme treasure was instantly gone in smoke, because he knew he was in some kind of trouble. Ace knew he was in trouble because he didn't have any choice in this matter now, since he can't throw this system treasure away. He didn't even know where it was hiding. Ace knew that this system was in his body, though, because every time its voice sounded in his head, and only he can see the panel or hear it. He also thinks that this system treasure would not harm him, because he was the system's master. The fact was, his life will not be normal anymore. Ace thinks of another commanding word that can control the system and thought, System Shop. 1. The transparent panel changed into another one, and on the top, write a new symbol glowed in silver. It was like a card. Underscore. System Shop. Available skill books. Available cultivation technique. Available weapons. Available pills. Four glowing options in silver appear on the panel. There was a symbol of a book with a blank eye for skill books, a round pill with 9 circles for pills, a crossword for weapons, and as for techniques, there was a book with a coin engraved on its cover. In front of every option was their name in the language of ancient gods. Ace becomes a little excited after reading all the options and hurriedly communicates with the system through his mind. Show me available pills. It filled his heart with anticipation and excitement. Because if this system is some kind of supreme treasure, then it should have some extraordinary abilities. Maybe he can heal his sister without that pill. The glowing screen changed again. Underscore. System Shop. Available pills. Basic level healing pills. One can heal any serious injury and disease below Heavenly Chi River Realm. Price, 25 thief points, TP, per pill. Basic level Heaven Chi recovery pills. Can instantly recover Heavenly Chi. Price, 10 thief points, TP, per pill. Lowest level Heaven Stealer pills. Price, 150 thief points, TP, per pill, 5 pills available. Underscore. When he saw the description of the basic healing pill and its use, Ace becomes so excited that I was going to jump with happiness. He didn't even see another word. He didn't know what that Heavenly Chi River realm was, and even if he knows, he wouldn't even care about it because his eyes were fixed only on those 3 words, heal any disease. He hurried, demands loudly. System gives me a basic healing pill now. But he only gets an emotionless answer. No enough thief points, TP. What? He was just going to curse the system when he suddenly remembered about thief points. Ace took another glance at the System Shop panel hurriedly and finally spots a prize column of whole 25 TP right below the healing pill. He only has 15 TP. There were also other pills, but he didn't know what they're used for and didn't care at all, so he ignored them. Ace finally calms down a bit and thought grimly, do I have to steal to earn thief points, TP? No, I have to do that. It's better than earning 1 ruby coin, and I still didn't know if that pill will work or not. Although that old Gale gives guarantee, and he seemed to be a nice person, but I can't trust anyone but myself. He takes a deep breath and asks calmly, System, tell me what things I have to steal to earn thief points, TP. Missions given by the system, and any kind of honorable thieveries. Ace hurriedly see the mission column on his main panel, but there was currently 0. How will I get missions? Missions will trigger based on a host life's special events, and when some special conditions satisfy the criteria set by the system. Ace became speechless. How the hell am I supposed to trigger these life events? He yells in his mind furiously. This system is no help at all. It's just spouting bullshit. Just as he was about to give up on the idea of doing a mission, he hears the system's sweet voice again. A new mission is available. Wouldn't it say it only triggered by some bullshit events? Ace mutter in confusion. But then he becomes happy with this immediate coincidence. I can finally earn thief points, TP, without doing the robbing stuff. Ace thinks happily as he opens the mission panel and it was a hand holding a coin symbol. Underscore. Mission panel. Revenge mission. Steal all the treasure from shop number 8 in Riverflower City, Outer Region Pill Market. Let that fat shop owner know an honorable thief can't be cheated. Rewards based on host performance. Days left 7. Mission failure punishment. Death. Underscore. Ace was extremely happy when he saw the mission, but when he finally saw what the mission was, his joyous expression changed to an angry one. W wouldn't want me to steal from that fatty shop, just for revenge. I admit I want to smash that bastard shop with stone and steal his gold coins. But I just said that in anger it's not like I want to do it. Even I want to do it. How the hell am I supposed to do it? The outer pill market security is tight at night, and every shop has its security. Ace mulled over it angrily. He angrily saw the mission panel. Then his eyes landed on the reward section. Performance? Confused by the reward, his eyes go down on time section. 7 days, huh? Even if it was 70 days, I can't do it no matter what. When Ace's eyes landed on the punishment section, he was a pause for a moment. Then he started rubbing his eyes to confirm if he saw nothing wrong. Ace saw again, but there was still a death word there. He even raised his hand to see if the panel screen had dust on it, but his hand had gone through it. After confirming it was the word death, Ace nearly had a stroke, and he couldn't take it anymore. He cursed this black-hearted system as he barked. Honorable thief, you're immome. Ace was so angry and terrified that his eyes turned bloodshot and even forget about Alina right next to him. Alina was jolted awake by Ace's scream and asked in a weak voice, W, what H happened? She was still in a stupor state and didn't know what happened to Ace, but she was quite worried about him. Ace was shock awakened from his mad-like mental state when he heard little Alina's worried voice, and he quickly reassures her. And no, nothing happens. Big Bro was just scarred by a rat. When little Alina heard his silly excuse, she smiles weakly just as she wanted to say something, but no words came out because she faints while smiling. When Ace saw this, his anger and fear faded like smoke, and he quickly holds little Alina in his arm and said in a panicked voice, Little sis. Alina. No matter how much he calls or shook her, she didn't answer him. Ace felt a surge of anxiety raising over him because Alina's body temperature was dropping and he could feel extremely cold in his hand just by holding her with blankets. He forgets about the death punishment that the system has given him a moment ago and said in a begging tone, System, please give me that pill and I will rob whoever you told me to just give it to me right now. He was even ready to sell his soul to the devil, much less a trifling robbery. But he was destined to disappoint. Rewards can only be given on mission completion. System response, emotionlessly. Ace's breathing becomes rigid after hearing the answer. Will I lose her like everyone? Just as he was on a plead again, with everything he has, System spoke again. But System could diagnose this girl for 1 thief point, TP. Ace becomes silent when he hears this and thought angrily, She can't give me TP, but wants it instead. Ace grinded his teeth and said, Do it. At least it was much better than old Gale's diagnosis that he just randomly guessed, and Ace also wanted to see this thing's capabilities as well. If it was a supreme treasure, then he didn't mind becoming a thief. A dark blue light shone in Ace's eyes, and he was surprised because he can see information floating on Alina's head. It was exactly like his status panel. Underscore. Alina Silver. Race, Hunter, Ice Elemental Bloodline. Cultivation level, Chi Gates Realm, First Gate. Weak state, she is currently going through her bloodline awakening. She needs an extreme Ice Chi pill to successfully awaken her elemental bloodline. But if she didn't get any extreme Ice Chi pill, she will die in 3 days. When Ace saw her status, he was completely dumbfounded by this and barked out loud. You are saying she is not human and a legendary hunter who lives on Blood Continent. Blood Continent was where the third-rank race of the Golden Sky world, the hunters, live, and it was much bigger than the Azure Wind Continent of the human race. Ace was very confused at this moment. How a hunter appeared in Riverflower City. The funniest thing is a hunter becomes my little sister. Ace lament and is completely taken over by this sudden truth. Ace saw she was also a cultivator and didn't know what realm this Chi Gate was, but when he compares it with his mortal status, it was something extraordinary. He couldn't help but look back at unconscious Alina profoundly. She didn't even tell me her full name. Ace sighed and became extremely calm after seeing her status. Ace has some thoughts about her identity first and presumes that she wasn't normal from start. Because how could a little girl come to the city and remain unharmed and even accept the offer of going to a stranger's house instantly? However, he never would have dreamed that she was not even a human altogether. Maybe the reason for him not to question her before was that he was alone in this world, and she filled a deep hole in his heart. So she didn't have that nerve-cold disease either. It is her hunter bloodline that was awakening. Doesn't that mean that the heart-heating pill would also not have worked on her either? His expression darkens even more after thinking about it. If not for the system, he would have killed her with his ignorance. Ace spoke with a calm yet serious expression. System, I know you're not from this world, and I also know you chose me for some special reason, and you even have so many abilities that even I didn't know about them yet. But I know you need me, and I need you. So just tell me, do you have that extreme Ice Chi pill or not? Now is not the time for him to worry about himself. He only has 3 days, and this all-knowing black-hearted system was his only light in this darkness. Yes. How much? Ace closes his eyes. 30 thief points. Ace opens his dark blue eyes that were now shimmering with determination. Ace lay unconscious Alina on the rug. Then he stood up and opened the hut door and head out. His destination was the Outer Rain Pill Market. Decryption.note. Now, whenever Ace is going to communicate with the system, I'm going to use quotation mark and stylish front instead of apostrophe, so it will not mix in with his simple thoughts and thinking. Alchemy pill trading was maybe the biggest industry in the entire world. Because alchemy pills are used for many things, such as healing grave injuries rapidly, curing unmanageable diseases, and most importantly, for cultivation. Legend has it some of the mystical alchemy pills can even resurrect the dead. Alchemy pills were divided in ranks. The same goes for alchemists who made them. There are 8 known grades of alchemists in these lower lands below royal lands. But in the lands of cities, there were hardly any 3rd-grade alchemists. There are only 5th grade, also known as white alchemists in 2nd grade, or green alchemists available in low-level lands. In Riverflower City, there was only a single white alchemist, and he lives in the inner region of the city in City Lord Mansion like some kings. Alchemists were treated like rare treasures in this world because only 1 person in a million has the talent to become a real alchemist. They were treated like rare gems, especially in places like Land of Cities where even a white alchemist was rare like phoenix feathers. Riverflower City was only a 2-star city, and it has a white alchemist, and that alone gives the city very high standing even among 1-star cities. The reason for the alchemist being here was unknown, though. In the outer region of the city, the pills were made by novice alchemists, and even they were treated with respect, and because of it, they were quite an arrogant bunch. A novice can easily practice alchemy if they had a formula of a low-level or half-white grade pill and required medicinal herbs. Just by selling those low-level pills to these alchemy pill shops, one can easily earn enough money to buy more materials. Even their failed pills were sold for quite some money. That's why even a novice alchemist didn't put anyone in its eyes. Ace reached the outer region pill market in a hurry. Ace was gloomy as he was thinking about Alina's special condition and how the hell I'm supposed to rob that swindler's shop? Ace loitered around that fatty shop as he slowly observes him from some distance. He notices that Fatty treated everyone differently. He didn't see anyone's appearance and only looked at their clothes with that he judged them if they were poor or rich. If they wore high-quality clothing, then he would treat them like they were his father. But if someone like him with tattered clothes comes, he looked at them with disdain and didn't even listen to what they need and gave them black or trash pills just like he did with him. Ace clenches his teeth in anger after noticing this, and his heart bleeds just by thinking of being cheated by that bastard of 8 gold coins. He controls his seething anger as he thought of a scheme to test the waters. He hurriedly looks around and saw a cloth shop near. He goes to the clothes shop. There was a young lady inside the shop. She was fair and beautiful, with a good slim figure. Welcome customer. Claire Aaron was an 18-year-old girl. She often came to her dad's cloth shop to help him sometimes. Today is one of those days. When she turns around to greet a new customer, she saw a young skinny boy looking around curiously. The boy's face was very attractive. If it wasn't for his tattered clothes and his skinny figure, she would have thought that he was some rich family young master. Ace was looking for clothes when he hears a crispy voice of a young lady. He turns around and saw a beauty was looking at him with a hint of curiosity in her eye. Do you want to buy clothes, or are you just looking around? Claire asked with a smile on her face. The little boy was looking at her embarrassedly, and she finds it quite amusing. I want to buy clothes, Ace said tensely, since he hardly bought clothes for himself before, so he was quite nervous. He never talks to a girl before except Alina, and if he didn't see her level of beauty before, he would think Claire was the most beautiful girl he had ever seen. He was now immune to it. What type do you prefer? Claire asks while smiling. However, inside she was startled by this boy's clear eyes, as if he was seeing a normal girl. Ace looks around, and he saw black attire. That attire was simple and had only some silver embroidery on it. I want that black attire. Ace pointed his finger as he said. Claire looked in the direction that Ace pointed. That black attire price is 10 silver coins. So expensive, Ace muttered to himself. Ace takes a deep breath and half-heartedly takes out a gold coin from his pocket. That was the last gold coin left. His heart was bleeding. He never thought that just a single attire would cost him 10 silvers. When Claire saw a trembling gold coin in Ace's hand, she giggles while receiving his gold coin. If you want to change it here, there's changing room on the rear. Or do you want me to pack it for you? I'll change it here. There was a clear pain of losing money in his voice. You can change first then, and I'll get your dues in meantime. She gives the new attire to Ace and left to retrieve his 90 silver coins. Ace quickly grabs the attire and goes towards the changing room. After some time, Claire returns with 90 silver coins in a Pam-sized money pouch. Moments later, Ace comes out from the changing room in his new black attire. When Claire looks at Ace in his new clothes, she was stunned they are so handsome. That was the thought of Claire when she saw him now. He didn't look like the beggar like before. Even with his skinny complexion, he looks like someone with a status no one can tell this young boy was dirt poor from his look. When Ace looks at Claire, he thought she looked silly. Is that for me? He points at the small pouch in her hand. Claire awakes to Ace's voice from her daze. She quickly cleans her drool from her lips and replies in a panic as her face reddens. Why, yes. And give him a pouch with silver in her hands. Ace receives the money pouch and hung it around his waist. Now he looks like some rich kid from a prosperous family. He was just turned around to leave the cloth shop when he hears Claire's voice from behind. What is your name, little brother? There was a deep blush on her cheeks. Ace looks back at her confusingly. Why is she so polite now? He still answered Ace White. And leave the shop in a hurry. Claire mumbles in a low voice. Ace, huh? They say clothes make men. It seems it's true. and her blush deepens. Ace was proceeding toward that fatty shop with his hands folding behind his back, similar to some arrogant rich kid. He observed before many of them acting this way, so he also copied them. Billy Bill was famous for his cleverness and shrewd nature in the pill market of the outer region. He was one of the richest shop owners in the outer region. But commoners also know him by another name, and that was Billy the Swindler. Because Billy didn't have an ounce of morality in him. If he saw you were poor, he will cheat you one way or another. He disdains those poor commoners who come to his shop and will cheat them while thinking that he was collecting some interest from them for dirty his clean floor. Today was just like another normal day of work for Billy, and he was happy doing business in the morning. He even cheats a weak-looking woman who comes to buy a healing pill. Billy was about to close his shop to eat his lunch when he saw a young boy in a black attire was walking toward his shop. He quickly judges him by his clothes like he always does. His clothes look expensive, and the way he walks and his arrogant attitude. He is a big fish. He hurriedly stopped closing his shop and go to greet this big fist himself with a broad smile on his fat face. Welcome, young master, in this poor fatty shop. Rich people called him Fatty Billy, and he didn't mind it. As long as the other party has money, he didn't even mind them calling him a fat dog. The young man in black robes was, of course, Ace. When Fatty Billy greets him with a hideous smile, his anger increases by few levels because Billy didn't even recognize him who he cheated on 2 days ago. He wanted to break his teeth with a punch, but held his anger in his heart. He was acting like a rich kid now, so he has to act like them. He snorted, "Fatty, I heard about your shop here sold good quality pills, so I'm here to check if it is true or false." Billy's smile widens as dark lines appear on his face after hearing Ace. "Young master is polite, but you didn't hear wrong. My little shop pills are #1 in whole outer region market. I can guarantee it with my life." Billy thumped his chest, and his whole body wobbled. Ace wanted to murder this shameless bastard after listening to his bullshit. He inhales deeply to calm his boiling anger. "I'm not here to buy at this moment. I only came here on behalf of my family. If your shop has good quality pills, we will buy them in bulk," Ace stated as he suppresses his urge to kick Billy on the balls. It stunned Fatty Billy as he became extremely happy. He couldn't be from the inner region, right? Billy assumed, but he didn't dare to ask, because if this boy was really from the inner region, then if he displeases him, he will die and no one even knows about it. Billy tested Ace. Yes, young master, follow me. I'll show you our finest pill collection." He takes Ace to the rear of the shop, but there was only a wall, nothing else. Ace became confused and about to say something, when suddenly he saw Billy taking a thin little rectangular-shaped crystal from his pocket. It was shiny blue, and there were mysterious marking engraved on it. Then Billy sweeps this strange thing in front of the empty wall. Ace thinks this swindler has gone frantic when something miraculous happens. The empty wall disappeared, and a white door appeared out of thin air. Ace was flabbergasted by this, and his heart turns cold because he was here to scout and collect as much information about the shop. However, Ace didn't even imagine that there was a mysterious door here. He gravely thinks of the system's mission and thought about the rewards were based on his performance. This means if he didn't steal important things, he will get only shit. Now Ace finds out that he has to open this door that he can't even see with eyes. How could he not feel despair and anxiety? At this moment, Ace heard system voice in his mind. Target and range. Did the host want to scan the target? Cost 2 thief points. What? Ace didn't know what this was all about, but when he saw 2 TP, he think in resentment. She is robbing me again. I didn't even earn a single TP, but I keep spending it. Just who's the actual thief here? He transmitted his voice and mind. Scan the target. His remaining TP drop from 14 to 12. Scanning start. Complete in 10 seconds. When Ace and System were talking only a second pass, Fatty was noticing Ace's reaction from the start, and when he saw only a frown appear on his face, and then he becomes calm the next moment, he becomes even more sure about his guess. Billy didn't dare to delay anymore and quickly opened the secret door with the same rectangular crystal and gestured to Ace. "Young master, please." Ace enters the secret room. He saw 2 big, bulky men standing there, and both of them were weaponized. There are even guards in here. Ace looked around. There were 2 big shelves on each corner of the hidden room, and on those shelves were placed rows of shining bottles, and inside them were colorful pills. He never saw this many pills before, and they differed from the black pill that this bastard sells him last time. Furthermore, after taking some breath here, Ace felt his body feeling refreshed, and his mind was clearer, so that what real alchemy pills look like. He was truly amazed. "Young master, what do you think of my little collection? They're all half-white grade pills," Fatty Billy said with pride, and he looks fatter than before. Lower grade than white grade. When Ace heard half-white grade, he was inwardly shocked because he has some idea that any of these pills can be sold at the price of 10 ruby coins one minimum, and there were hundreds of them. This bastard is filthy rich. 1 ruby equals 100 gold. Ace calms his nerves and acts arrogantly. Not bad at all. I'll immediately report back to my family, and they will plausibly come here tomorrow to purchase all your pills. Now, I shall take my leave." Ace didn't wait for Billy's response and leave the secret room slowly. Ace pretends he has seen this kind of scene many times before, so Billy won't suspect anything. Just as Ace presumed when Billy saw him leave after just taking a glance around all the doubts he has about Ace's identity vanished and reflected, only a family from the inner region can pay for all these pills, and if I form a relationship with this brat family, I can go to the inner region and move my business there. Billy snapped out of his daydreaming when he saw Ace was about to leave the shop. He chases after him to respectfully escort him out himself and bid farewell with a wide smile on his fat face. Ace has just left the shop when a system voice buzzed in his mind. Scan complete. Ace's eyes shimmer with expectation after hearing the system notification because he was at a dead end now and didn't know how to rob this shop with that mysterious door and those 2 guards around. Just that door is giving him a tremendous headache. So he was expecting good news from the system. Ace quickly exited the pill market before opening the notification panel, which has an envelope like a symbol. All the notifications of the system can be seen here. Notification panel. Target scanning report. Total net worth. Converting according to the current money system equals 20,000 ruby coins worth of pills, 2084 ruby coins. Security. 1 trash illusion and lock array. 2 normal mortal warriors, and 1 lowest level treasury. Evaluation. Impossible to rob with host current skills. Ace was speechless after seeing this report and cussed the system. "Thank you very much for your motivation, you money-grubbing scoundrel." That rich bastard. He also curses Billy next after seeing his wealth. Ace was truly perplexed by the number of ruby coins and never would have thought that this shop was worth this much. That fatty swindler makes this much money by cheating countless people. Ace's guess was utterly right, because Fatty Billy did cheat lots of common people who can't do anything to him, and he would never offend someone with status and power. That's why he is known as a shrewd business owner in the pill market. So that secret door called Illusion Array and those 2 guards aren't cultivators? Well, that's good news at least. He continues to think with a gloomy look on his face. Ace returned with a grave expression, and after seeing unconscious Alina, "Well, I'll die in 7 days, even if I didn't take the chance, and Alina would also die in 3 days." He becomes determined again. He has to succeed, no matter what. Abruptly, Ace remembered he hadn't checked the system shop completely last time because he was in a hurry and only checked the pill shop, not the other shops. He still has 12 TP left, so he opens the shop, hoping to find something there. "System shop," murmured Ace softly with full of anticipation. System shop. Available skill books. Available cultivation technique. Available weapons. Available pills. Ace saw the familiar black panel again. "Show me available cultivation technique." He has never seen a real cultivator except for Alina before, much less a cultivation technique, and if not for the memories that give him some obscure idea about it, Ace didn't even know what cultivation was. He only knows that common people call them deities, and some even worship them. In Ace's mind, he was about to see a deity technique and was excited. Available cultivation techniques. Heaven Stealer Technique, first of all. Price, 100 Thief Points, TP. Dual Shadow Swords, Basic Technique. Price, 10 Thief Points, TP. So expensive. The price of these techniques did not surprise Ace, since they can help someone become a deity. Ace still spoke annoyingly. System why is Heaven Stealer so expensive compared to the other technique? This system was a true thief, just like its name, and he's sure of it after seeing this prize. He also remembered that Heaven Stealer Pill, both have the same name, and both were expensive as well. The Heaven Stealer technique is a special technique for host. Only the host can cultivate it, and it's tailor-made for a thief. After getting an icy answer from the system, Ace mutters, "Specially made for a thief, huh? Well, I don't have the thief points now, and I don't want any swords technique as well since it won't be easy to learn in 3 days. What I want is a method to break that shop security. Open skill panel. Available skill. Stealth, free. Description. And basic skill for a thief, once learned, no one will be able to spot you. Warning. Cultivators with one whole cultivation realm above you will be able to spot you. Pickpocket, free. Description. Hand movement skill, so fast that no one can see your hand movement. Excellent for earning quick money. Warning. Cultivators with one whole cultivation realm above you will be able to sense your skill. Silent steps, free. Description. A basic skill of thief. As the name suggests, no sound will be made even while walking. Once mastered, one can even walk on water with no sound. Warning. Cultivators with one whole cultivation realm above will catch you. True and false eyes basic, free. Description. A must-have skill for thief. A thief's principal weapon is his eyes and his sharp senses. Because a good thief can recognize or smell rare treasures from miles away, and if a thief can't even recognize a rare treasure, how could he be a thief? Warning. Never use it on anything powerful than you. Treasure opening hands, basic art, 10 thief points. Description. Open or disable any low-level arrays with your hands. It's a must-have art for thieves to open treasuries. Warning. Don't open any first-grade treasures. This time Ace said nothing because he was in a daze after looking at so many frees. He rubs his eyes to check if he saw it wrong. Yet it was free like free. Ha. So you have a conscience after all. Ace laughs out loud. Suddenly his face was filled with happiness while nodding his head in satisfaction like an idiot. Give me every skill available, especially that treasure opening hands. You can have 10 TP. Ace said while smiled delightedly. After reading every skill description, he finally realized that system didn't send him to his death. These solutions, were always available to him, but he was so anxious about Alina that he didn't even notice them. After he gave his command, the 12 TP became 2 TP, and all kinds of information enter his brain like before. However, this time he didn't feel any pain. Rather, he feels refreshed. 5 minutes later, all the information about those 5 skills transfer into his brain, and he remembers every one of those skills' special stances and how to practice them. When Ace opens his eyes, his dark pupils were golden. He saw the world has become clear like never before. He saw Alina and noticed the same vague status above her head like last time when the system made him spend a TP. However, it was not as accurate as of the system status because he can only see her cultivation and race, nothing else. Although, the next moment, Ace suddenly felt a sharp pain in his eyes and screamed, "Ah!" He kneels on the ground with both hands clutching his eyes. The golden color in his eyes vanishes, and they return to normal as well. Warning, Host is not a cultivator, so Host only has a very limited amount of chi inside your body, and your meridians are still closed. The system's advice is to first learn how to control your chi with other skills before using true and false eyes. If you overdraw your limited amount of chi, you can die as a result. Ace finally realized what has happened to him and comes to his sense. But the moment he regains his sense, he feels exhaustion and extreme hunger. Ace had a feeling that if he didn't eat anything, he would surely die because of this chi depletion. It was already evening, and he didn't eat any lunch today, so he quickly headed towards some meat stalls and buy some meat and other ingredients. After cooking meat quickly, he ate like a hungry ghost. Now Ace didn't dare to try those skills anymore because of the lingering fear from before. He could only activate it because, for some reason, that skill is easy to understand. Ace wasn't surprised by this since he simply thinks that those skills were basic and anyone could learn them like him. He took the system's advice and practiced controlling that chi thing first. Then try studying skills again. Show me weapons panel. He was hoping to get another free from this last panel as well. Available weapons. Black blade sword set. 1 short, 1 long, 30 thief points. Two-face mask. Price, 80 thief points. Invisible bead. 50 thief points per bead. 5 available. One-time use item. Duration, 1 minute. Meanwhile, Ace saw the prices of the weapons and hurriedly closes the panel. They were just too damn expensive. If he could buy that invisible bead, his chances of success would go up a level. But this damn money-grubbing system only gives him one for a whopping price of 50 TP, and that was also one-time use only for 1 darn minute. Ace quickly forgets about weapons for now and focuses on his free skills. He waits till night and then goes outside. There was an open park near the slums. This was the only park in this remote region of the city. But it was not well maintained, and only poor kids played here in the morning. Ace was currently trying his silent step skill. This time, as per system warning, he tries to control his limited amount of chi and succeeds after trying for a few times. After gaining a little hang of his chi, he practices stealth until midnight. Practicing for a few hours, Ace felt extremely exhausted. He dragged his exhausted body all the way home and ate some leftovers from the evening and fell into a deep sleep. In the morning, Ace opened his eyes today. He feels different from before he felt renewed. Little Alina was still the same as yesterday, but looking paler than before. I have to do it tonight. Ace has already decided. Last night, he practiced with 2 skills until his chi was drained. He quickly goes out and bought more meat. He suddenly felt that if he doesn't eat meat or other things with a high level of nutrition, he will die of exhaustion. And he was right, because Ace wasn't a cultivator yet. So he only has a negligible amount of chi like any other normal person. Moreover, Ace didn't know that the skills he practices were the ultimate skills on their basic level. So he needs more chi than others. If it was someone else, that person might have died long ago just by practicing stealth. After eating 2 to 3 pounds of meat in his breakfast, he goes toward the common market again and bought a bag, a dirk, a full-body black dress with a hood, and a pitch-black mask. This much shopping cost him 40 silver coins. After his little shopping, he does some practice with his silent step skill because it was very hard to master, and this was the crucial skill he's going to use the most in tonight's foray. Skills. Outer region of River Flower City in the middle of the night. Pill markets in the outer region remained completely open and running like usual because the alchemy pill trade will never stop no matter what the circumstances or time were, especially for the cultivators. In a dark valley near Fatty Billy's shop, a pair of dark blue eyes observed the lit shop coldly in the dark. Ace was here watching the shop for an hour now because he thinks that every shop closes at midnight, just like in other areas of the city. Ace thinks that it will be easy for him to invade the shop when it's close, but he didn't imagine that the pill market in the middle of the night was like the day. If he has known this, he would have made more adjustments to his plan. What to do now? He was quite depressed by the current situation. I only have 1 day left. I have to do it no matter what I have to do it. Ace encourages himself and calms his nerves. He continues to look around for any new ideas, but nothing comes to mind. Underscore. In Fatty Billy's shop, Fatty Billy was in an extremely sullen mood because yesterday a rich kid from the inner region, in his opinion, came to his shop and promised him that he would come with his family and purchase his pills. It was clearly a golden opportunity for him to befriend a family of the inner region. But to his dismay, that brat never comes, and that made him extremely furious. He even beat his servants for no good reason. It's already the middle of the night, and business was slow, so Billy was getting bored and sleepy. He simply decided to take a nap like he always does this time around. Billy didn't even have a shopkeeper because he didn't trust anyone but himself when it's come to money. That's why he manages the shop himself and closes it in the middle of the day, some time for rest. In the valley, Ace was silently waiting for any possible opening or any chance. He was observing Billy's shop and his every move like a hawk. He was there for some time now and saw that Billy was getting lazy and even bobbing some time. Just a little bit more. Ace thought with full of expectation. Suddenly, he saw Bill closing his eyes, and this was the opportunity. This was his only chance, and after waiting restlessly for 5 minutes, he finally made his move. Now or never. After taking a deep breath, Ace activates his stealth skill. Ace felt a mysterious power or chi begin to circulate in his whole body, and his figure begins to become transparent and slowly faded into the darkness. After going in stealth, Ace began to activate his second most important skill, the silent steps. He felt the chi making his feet extremely light like feathers. Ace darted towards the shop like an arrow. He was extremely cautious of his surroundings. Holding his breath, he reached the shop's entrance and successfully entered it without alerting Billy. Now that Ace was in the light of the shop, if someone saw him with a little bit more focus, they will be able to locate him because his stealth was not perfect yet. As he enters the shop, Fatty Billy's eyes were closed, and one can hear some snorts coming from his mouth. This bastard fall asleep good. Ace thought happily. Ace directly went to the rear of the shop with his silent steps. He saw there was nothing besides a normal wall. One couldn't even imagine that there was a secret door right here. Ace stopped using his 2 skills after reaching the wall. One could see beads of sweat on his head. It was extremely tiring to use both skills at the same time when he wasn't even a cultivator. He didn't have time to take a break and directly activates his 3rd skill, True and False Eyes. Ace pupils turn golden, and suddenly gleaming gray vertical lines on the wall come to his view. By connecting these vertical lines, one could vaguely see an outline of a door. Strangely, there was a little dark hole between one part of these gray lines. It was right at the middle right corner of the hidden door. Ace wasn't surprised by this dark hole, because he knew this is a flaw in the array. He simply placed his index finger directly on the dark hole position, and with a thought activates the skill, Treasure Opening Hands, first form of treasure opening finger key. There's a total of 5 forms in this skill, and finger key was the first. Ace was barely able to master the second form with extreme difficulty. Maybe he was desperate to save Aline, so he didn't notice his unusual speed of learning these skills. The moment the skill was active, his index finger became metallic, and a mysterious pattern appeared on his whole index finger. The moment those patterns appeared on his finger, it began to insert into the dark hole like a key. In his mind, information about this array structure begun to appear. Ace wasn't fazed by it in the slightest because he already knew it was going to happen, and after getting the information about this array, he subconsciously begins to move his finger mysteriously. Click! With a mild voice, the door formed in front of Ace. So that how this skill feels when it works? It's simply mysterious. Ace's forehead was filled with tiny beads of sweat, but there was clear excitement on his pale face as he thinks. Since the illusion array was already disabled, it didn't take long before he opens the lock array with finger key as well. Ace hurriedly grabbed the door handle and slowly opened it without making any sound. The door crack opened, and the crack he peeks inside. Inside the hidden room, Ace saw those 2 worries were sleeping in corner of the room like logs. They're also sleeping. Looks like luck is on my side. Sleeping at this time was typical for those 2 guards because no one dares to steal from Fatty Billy. The biggest reason for that was no one knows where his treasury was. And even if someone knows, they have to deal with this illusion and lock a ray first, because the moment someone touches it, the alarm would go off and everyone would become alert. That's why those two were sleeping without even caring for the security of this room. Ace was special, though. He has skills from the system. No one can imagine that with his true and false eyes, he can see flaws in the array, and even he sees them, no one would have believed that he has a skill like treasure opening hands, too. He was a perfect thief with these skills. Ace slowly enters the room and saw those two muscle brains sleeping without even care about their surroundings. He coolly passed them and active his true and false eyes again. After scanning the entire room, he finally caught sight of what he was looking for. Oh, so that's where the treasury was hidden. Ace saw in a down right corner there was a little jagged wall there, and hurriedly goes there. Ace reached the irregular wall with extreme caution and squatted there. After confirming again that those two idiots are still snoring, he places his 2 fingers on the empty, uneven corner of the wall. Just like before, he saw gray lines forming a little door of a treasury, but this time there were 2 dark holes between gray lines. Ace places his 2 fingers on 2 dark holes. Treasure opening hands, second form 2 fingers keys. As soon as he activates the skill, his index and mid fingers become metallic and begin to enter in dark holes like before. However, this time a new type of pattern was formed on them. Just like last time, he felt information about this lock array was flowing into his brain. Ace mysteriously moves his fingers. Each of his fingers was doing different kinds of movements. This was quite the scene to behold, and one could see mysteries of treasure opening hands second form. After 4 seconds pass, ting! A sharp noise resounded in the deathly silent room. Ace was in a deep trance-like state when he heard this sound. It wasn't that loud, but in silence, it was quite loud. His complexion was ashen and had a near heart attack. He quickly looks towards those 2 sleeping guards, but they were still sleeping. It seems like they didn't hear anything. Ace has sight of relief. Ace swiftly shifts his attention towards the open little door of the treasury. He lightly opens it without making any sounds. He saw inside of the treasury was filled with shining red color ruby coins. Ace had never seen this much money before in his entire life. There were more than 2,000 ruby coins there, because Billy believed that today he would meet with rich inner-region family. So he quickly shifted his assets here to show off his wealth and even bribe them to take him in the inner region. However, that gives benefits to little Ace instead. There were more than 4,000 ruby coins inside the treasury. Ace grabs the string bag from his back after opening its string. He smoothly begun to collect ruby coins excitedly. After 2 minutes of hard work, he collected every single coin. He's not going to leave even a single coin for that swindler. Now that he collected all coins in this little treasury, there were only 2 red bottles left. Ace didn't think much of them because they also seemed like all those other pill bottles inside this room. But little did he know that these 2 pill bottles were more valuable than Fatty Billy's entire wealth. After cleaning the treasury, Ace felt he was dreaming. He never imagined that one day he would steal from someone and steal this big of wealth. At that, it was all like an impossible fantasy. Ace didn't dwell on it for long since the mission was not complete yet and began to move towards the shelves. He gradually filled his bag with all the pill bottles inside the room, and it became quite heavy. It was packed with pills and coins. Ace think that he was in an illusion. I'm rich, he thought frantically. Now that thievery was finished, it was time to escape. Ace slowly left the hidden room while those 2 idiots were still sleeping. I wonder what would that swindler do with them when he finds out about this foray. Ace couldn't help but wonder. He closes the treasury door, like before with Ting, the illusion and lock array active again. Now is only the main door left between him and riches. Ace's face was pale as a ghost, and his breathing was rough. Sweat was dripping from his face, and his clothes were almost drenched in it. This entire thievery put quite a strain on his little body, and if not for his willpower, he would have fallen right here and now. Ace grit his teeth and active his stealth again with his current condition. He can only use this skill, and even that was like a flickering candle. He moves towards the main entrance as mildly as possible. Now that his bag was fully got slower and his energy was almost used up. If any misshape happens now, he was doomed. Fatty Billy was still sleeping soundly and was having a dream of the inner region when he heard his shop door was open just now. He thought that it was just a customer, so he lazily opened his eyes. With his hazy eyes, what he saw was a fully black clothes-wearing person. Even his face was fully black. Fatty was still in a sleepy state, so rub his eyes to see more clearly. But the black clothes person was the same, and he was now running for some reason. Fatty Billy's face turned pale with fright and screams on top of his lungs. Ghost! His voice was so loud that nearby shop owners also got frightened and quickly comes out of the shops to see what has happened when they also saw a black clothing person running in the direction of the inner region. Their faces were the same as Billy, and someone yells in horror. As someone quickly go and find a shaman and ask for his help, there's a loose ghost loitering around here. Go quickly. The whole outer region pill market was thrown into turmoil. Fatty Billy was the most frightened of the bunch because he saw the ghost exiting his shop. He quickly goes toward his hidden room to get his guards here for his own protection. He hurriedly waved his key card on the hidden door and entered that hidden room. When he saw those two sleeping like idiots, his face turns dark as charcoal and became extremely angry. You two lazy bastards, get up quick, there's go. Billy was just about to say ghost when his vision abruptly fell on the extremely empty. Yes, it was empty. Fatty Billy felt the world was spinning around him and his vision turns dark. He drops on the floor with a thud. The two guards opened their drowsy eyes when they saw Billy on the floor, and his fat face was pale without any trace of blood, and they quickly go to him and ask hurriedly, "Boss, what happened?" "Look around and tell me, what did you see?" Billy said in a hoarse voice. He was hoping for a miracle and thought that he was so afraid of the ghost that his eyes were playing tricks on him. That's why he asked them for confirmation. When those two guards heard his question, they were very puzzled as they turned around to look, but they also think it was very empty here. Yes, empty. Their face also became pale, and their knees turned into jelly. They also dropped to the floor like Billy. "Bo boss, did why you move pills away?" The tall one asked Fatty with a trembling voice. "I'll fucking move your mom now. I'll move your sister with her. As well, I'll fucking move your entire family." Fatty barked and started cursing like a dog that was on the verge of going berserk. Suddenly, Billy thought of something, and his heart skipped a beat. He stopped kicking those two idiots and run toward the corner of the room. He quickly took out a red key card with a pattern on it. He waves the key card to the uneven wall and opens the little treasury, and just like he thought, it was also empty. Ha 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 ha, gone, all gone, everything is gone. Billy laughs like a lunatic as the fat on his body tremble up and down. His entire wealth has been gone in smoke, just like that. How the hell? This happens. You two were fucking with each other's when someone completely empties the entire room. Just who in the hell did it, damn it? Fatty howls like a madman at those two idiots when he remembers that black ghost. "You quickly go now and find that black-clothed person for me. He's definitely the one who stole my wealth. Go quick. If you two return empty-hand, I'll fucking chop you in million pieces." Good. Billy shrills angrily as his eyes were bloodshot. He nearly choked to death in anger. Ace was just at the corner of the street when he heard Billy's shrill scream fill with terror from behind. "Ghost? What, where?" Ace was startled and quickly looked, but there was no ghost. He was very afraid of ghosts. "Oh, he means me." Ace thought of himself as he looked at the full-back getup. He definitely looked like a ghost. Ace's complexion was ashen, but he still sprints even faster. Other shop owners also came out by the time he was exiting the pill market, and some of them saw him. They also start screaming like idiots. Ace ran towards the inner region direction because he didn't want others to think he came from the outer region. He wanted to mislead everyone. After running for 5 minutes, he turns around and saw there was no one following him. He quickly changes his direction and takes a big circle around the area. Now Ace was heading towards the direction of slums. On his way, he first goes to that rundown park and headed into a hidden area from everyone's outlook. No one could find it easily, and the kids didn't play around here either. He quickly finds a light mark on the ground that he leaves this morning and hurriedly starts digging the marked area. After some moments, he dug out a foot-deep hole in the ground. Inside the hole was a little string bag. Ace quickly opened it and inside was a new set of clothes that he bought today. He changed into these new clothes. This wasn't just any random hole, it was his escape plane. Ace's plan was if he completes today's mission, he would come here and hides the loot here until everything cools down. But if he would have failed, then he would escape and still come here for destroying the pieces of evidence. Thankfully, he completes his mission successfully, although he still gets spotted in the end. He escaped without any hurdle. After changing his clothes, he buried the bag full of pills and coins with his black clothes and filled the hole carefully. Subsequently, Ace makes sure the area was clear and there was no trace of digging left. He nodded and quickly left. No one would have imagined that in this barren place buried a bag worth more than 24,000 ruby coins. After the deed was done and everything went according to Ace's plan, relief washed over him, and he suddenly felt extreme exhaustion and feebleness. After all, he was under intense pressure this whole time. Now he just wants to go home and cure Alina as soon as possible. Everything is finally over. Ace laments and sighs deeply as he slowly headed to his home. Ace was just about to enter the slums area when he heard quick footsteps approaching. He didn't panic, just keeps his head down and continue walking. "Hey, Brad, stop right there." Ace heard a loud yell from behind. Ace immediately stopped moving and turned around and saw two men with big build approaching him. One was tall and the other was short. "It's those two idiots." Ace thought with a hint of astonishment flash past his eyes. Yes, there were Billy guards after getting bedding, and cursing for Billy, they were searching that black ghost high and low like some madman. But they didn't even find his shadow, much less the whole person. Brat quickly tells us if you saw a black clothing person passing here or not. The short one asked quickly with a dangerous expression. "No, sir, I didn't see anyone. I was coming from my work. In the way here, I didn't see anyone wearing black clothes." Ace answered calmly with politeness. He knew if he didn't answer them, he'll be in trouble, so he answered as respectfully as possible. "Useless trash. Get out my sight." The tall one was in a very bad mood after getting a beating from Billy, and after hearing an answer he didn't want to, he kicks Ace in the abdominal viciously. Bang! The kick landed on Ace's abdomen, and he was in a very weak state to begin with, so he was sent flying after receiving the vicious kick. He wasn't able to block it, and even if he can, he didn't dare to reveal his skills. Thud! He landed on the ground a few meters away from those two idiots. Cough, cough! Ace coughed some blood and nearly fainted from the kick impact, but he endured the pain and keeps his head as he trembles. "Let's go, we didn't have time to waste on this trash. If we waste any more time and didn't find that ghost fatty, will kill us both." The short one said as he pulls the big one with him, and they left quickly. "Well, you two are dead for sure, all right." Ace sneered. His trembling was instantly stopped after those two left, but he was having difficulty standing up. "I think something is broken inside." Ace smiles bitterly. After standing, he starts walking like a cripple. After half an hour of bitter walk, he finally saw his little hut. A smile crept out on Ace's pale face and was just about to open the door of the hut when he saw that something was not right because the door was already open a little. "Alina!" Ace forgets about his injury and his exhausted body. He yells as he hurriedly opens the door and saw that the hut was empty and those two blankets that were supposed to be on Alina were neatly folded, arranged on a corner of the hut. When Ace saw this, he can't endure the shock, and he was injured and exhausted to begin with, and now Aileen's disappearance gives him a huge mental blow as well. Thud! Ace landed face first on the floor with his eyes rolled upwards as he fainted on spot. Underscore. Outside of Riverflower City. Currently, two silhouettes were moving in the dim light of the moon at very fast speeds like the wind. By the looks of it, one silhouette seems little and the other was tall and sturdy. They were moving in the forest and moving towards upper-level regions of the Azure Wind Continent. Suddenly, the small silhouette stops moving, and a beautiful little girl reveals herself in the moonlight. Her little face was perfect without any flaw on it. She seems like a divine doll made with white jade. But currently, her beautiful blue eyes were red and tears were flowing down from them. It seems like she was crying for some reason. "Grandpa, can we not leave like this? Big bro will be worried sick if he didn't find me and look for me around." said the small girl while crying. Her gentle voice was filled with grievance. She was certainly Alina. After Ace left this evening to complete his mission, she was still hanging between the border of life and death because of her blood awakening. But today her long-lost grandpa come back to find her. He gives her a shining white pill with some kind of beautiful patterns on it, and her condition changed in an instant because her bloodline awakening was successful. Her black hair was now turned in silver color. It was a sign of Ice Elemental. Hunter's bloodline has been awakened, and she looks more elegant with it. Princess, I finally made contact with your parents. They were very worried about you. We have to make haste, living human territory as soon as possible. And you left a note and money for that kid. He will live well for the rest of his entire life with Princess Grace, said the old man beside her. He was acting like some servant in front of Alina, as he calls her princess. Boo, but he is my big brother, and he takes care of me of all these years. I can't even say goodbye to him. We might never meet again, ever, said Alina while crying in grief. She wants to tell Ace why she was here and who she was, but this grandpa or hers never agrees to her request, so she could only write a short note for Ace and leave with him hastily. Her heart was filled with bitterness. Mortals and immortals can never live together, said the old man coldly with disdainful eyes. If it wasn't for encounters a strong enemy that day, and because of it he has to go into hiding, he would never allow the princess to be molested by that lowly tramp. Alina looks one last time at the city, or directly at the boy who always takes care of her like some princess. Even if he was poor, he never let her felt any discomfort, and call her Lil Sis gently with full of love. Thank you for everything, and I'm sorry, big bro Ace, Alina thought while tears dripping from her milky face, and turned around entering the forest. After they both drifted away like silver smoke. Underscore When Ace was unconscious, the outer region of Riverflower City was in an uproar. The news of someone has stolen pill shop owner Billy Bill's entire wealth under his nose spread like wildfire and reached everyone's ears. News of this caliber was bound to spread like wildfire. Even the inner region of the city gets the news. Hey, did you hear? Someone disabled the illusion array without any sound and key card. He even opened a 1-star treasury in minutes. People say he was a black ghost, and he disappeared like smoke. No one can catch him. This kind of talk was everywhere in the city. People give the thief title of Black Ghost Thief, and every shop owner was afraid of Black Ghost. They were afraid that Black Ghost will pay a visit to their shop next. Everyone tightens their security around their treasuries because they were afraid, and if that isn't enough, they even hire more guards. On the other hand, Billy was still searching for the Black Ghost like a mad dog. Even the outer city guard post got involved in the search, but they didn't find any trace of Black Ghost. Like he never exists. He has vanished in thin air. Fatty Billy was going mad over this. He even killed those 2 idiots guards after they failed to find out Black Ghost trace. Billy also heard from nearby shop owners that Black Ghost has escaped in the direction of the inner region of the city that night. That's why he was even more angry and helpless, because he can't do anything to the inner region. He tries to report this to outer city guards, but they chase him away like some random dog. Now he can only vent his anger on people around him. The inner region of Riverflower City was 2 times bigger than the outer region. Inside a luxurious 15-story building, on the top floor of the building, a young handsome man wearing lavishing clothes that weren't even seen in the outer city, currently standing in front of the window while reading something on the paper in his hand. Black Ghost disabled a half-star illusion and lock array without any sound and array crystal card, and even opened a 1-star treasury, assumingly in minutes. Interesting, how very interesting. Find him, he might be a useful pawn for us, said the young man with a warm smile on his face. But there was no one around to hear him, however. The paper in his hand had already vanished. His warm smile become dark and greed shimmer in his cold eyes as he drinks some wine while watching the city from the top floor of the building. A thief, aye. Well, this is also good. I won't be bored anymore. He chuckled and closed his eyes, savoring the taste of wine. Riverflower City, the slums area, inside a rundown hut. A young boy laying on the floor face down like he was dead. He was, of course, Ace. Ace opens his heavy eyelids. His eyes were hazy as much as his mind after he fainted for 3 whole days. After this deep slumber, he finally regains his strength. He felt pain in his abdominal. It was clear that he's still injured, but a lot better than before. Ace felt intense hunger the moment he regained some sense. However, he didn't care about it, because Alina was still missing and he has to find her, or she might die because no one was clear about her condition other than himself. Ace quickly tries standing and was about to succeed when his internal injury acted and fell on his but in pain. Ace grunts while grits his teeth and was just about to give another try again when he suddenly saw a black pouch and a folded paper beside those 2 neatly arranged old blankets. The last time Ace didn't see that little pouch and paper. Maybe he was exhausted or shocked by Alina's disappearance. Now that he was clear-headed, he easily finds them. What are those? Ace gradually approached them confusingly. He picked up the black pouch and little paper. The black pouch was Pam-sized, just like any other money pouch. He opens the little pouch and instantly shocked because inside were shining ruby coins, and they were 10. Where did so much money come from? Ace didn't care about it and quickly opens the little folded paper. On it was very beautiful writing. It was Alina's. "Big bro, Ace, I'm so sorry that I have to go with my grandpa and hurry. He came to pick me up and said he was what takes me to my parents. But don't worry, he gave Alina a beautiful white pill, and after eating it, I'm all better now. So don't be sad without Alina, okay? You have to take care of yourself, Alina. We'll come back sometime in the future to find Big Bro when Alina grew up. I'll miss you. Goodbye, your Alina." Ace read the note that Alina left for him, and his nerve finally loosened, and he sighed in relief. He spotted and felt some rough spots on paper. Was she crying while writing? Unknowingly, 2 stems of tears also flow on Ace's face as he thought. So she left to reunite with her parents. Well, that's also good. This also means that grandpa of hers knows about her awakening of bloodline, and he also has that special pill. Maybe he was also a hunter. Ace was very intelligent. With so few clues, he now has some idea what has happened. But why didn't she say goodbye to me personally? It's not like I would have stopped her from going. Ace was extremely puzzled by this fact. If she's all right, that's what matters the most. He sighed. There was a hint of loneliness in his eyes. Now Ace was completely calmed as he stares at the black pouch with ruby coins. Well, she did leave me quite some money. If it was before, I would have lived my entire life comfortably with this much money. Although now, Ace chuckled softly. After placing the money bag in his pocket, Ace was going to find something to eat when he saw there was a bumpy spot between those blankets, meaning something was there. He lifts them and saw there was another small piece of paper below a stone. Why is this hidden here? If not for this stone, I would never notice it. Ace grabbed the small paper and opened it with some expectation in his eyes. Inside was totally different writing from Alina. Brat doesn't dare to tell anyone about Alina or you'll die. And most importantly, forget about her. You will never see her again in your entire life. You two are from different worlds. That was the only sentence inside the paper. The words used were quite strong. If Ace has his former mentality, he would have been quite heartbroken after reading it, but now. Ace read the sentence, and he laughs out loud. Ha ha, 2 different worlds, huh? Well, if it was before, your words would have some meaning. But now just wait for me, you old goat. I want to see your face when I meet you in your own home. Ace declared with a sneer on his face. In an instant, that old grandpa of Alina has turned into an old goat in Ace's mind after reading his harsh words. This geezer was most likely to be the reason for Alina didn't say goodbye to me by herself. Just you wait, old goat. I'll show you just who lives in different worlds. Ace snorted in anger, but there was clear happiness in his voice as well. After reading little Alina's farewell letter, he became untroubled because now he has a new goal, and that was to become strong so he could meet Aline one day in her own home. He will give her and that old goat a huge surprise. Ace quickly goes towards the market and buys the most expensive meat he could find. He was rich, so he didn't have to spend like a poor person anymore. Afterward, he received some superficial treatment from a local doctor and returned home. Ace felt quite invigorated after eating 5 pounds of meat. So that's how it feels to be rich. Ace murmured to himself because he was having a hard time believing that he was the same person 5 days ago. System shows the rewards that I received after I complete my mission. Ace said while smiling ear to ear. It was time for receiving his rewards of hard labor, and he was quite excited about it. Ace saw a familiar black panel form in front of his eyes. This was the mission panel, with a hand holding a coin like symbol. Mission panel. Revenge mission. Steal all the treasure from shop number 8 in Riverflower City Outer Region Pill Market, and let fat shop owner know that an honorable thief can't be cheated by anyone. Status. Complete. Scanning host performance. 1.2.3. 100% complete. Result. Low-level performance. Rewards will be 2x for the first 3 honorable missions. First 2x reward will be given now. 2x reward. EXP equals 100. Soul points, SP, equals 50. Thief points, TP, equals 150. Rewards have been added to host status. This time, Ace didn't bicker with the system because he knew he messed up in the end and nearly got caught by those 2 idiots. If it was someone else with a brain, not those 2 idiots, they would be suspicious of him and caught him for interrogation. Well, these rewards are also not bad. Ace thought, System, what do these 2x rewards mean? Ace asked with a puzzled face. First 3 honorable missions are for the host to learn the art of thievery, so this is a kind of gift from System to encourage the host to work hard in future. Thereby, for the first 3 missions, your rewards will be double. So, if I got the mission to rob someone really rich, my rewards will be double. That great as well. Unknowingly, Ace has started to think like a thief. System, open my status. Eternal Thief System. Main panel. Host, Ace White. Race, human, no bloodline. Heaven. First heaven, mortal, sky, heaven. Cultivation level of first heaven. Martial cultivation, mortal. EXP. 49 50ths, 51 extra. EXP equals experience points. Soul cultivation, mortal. SP. 19 20ths, 31 extra. SP equals soul points. Thief points, TP 152. Skills 5. Cultivation technique, 0. Current mission, 0. Ace saw his status with a smile and nodded his head in satisfaction when he saw 152 TP. However, when he saw his EXP and SP, his smile froze. He asked the system hurriedly, System, why aren't I leveling up? I even have extra points, but they didn't add up? You aren't broken, are you? He started to panic because without system help, he has no hope of seeing Alina ever again in his life. EXP and SP represent the QI capacity of host body and soul. Consider your body like a water glass. If it has more space, it will be able to hold more water, and if it's full, it will overflow. So that's why you can't absorb more QI if you don't have more space. System recommend for host to buy the cultivation technique. It will help host body to build more space for QI, and this way you will level up. The system gave a long explanation for the first time. Ace was also amazed by this. He asked another question because the system was being generous today. So cultivation techniques are for use to make more space inside our bodies for chi, he asked. You can put it that way. Then what is a skill? Aren't there like technique as well? It was another one of Ace's biggest questions. Skills are for controlling the chi. QI is like an open river inside your body. It will flow if you create a path for it, but it will flow until it became empty, so you have to block the path you open. The skill is like a water gate. It can control the flow of water however you wish. Another long answer comes from the system. Suddenly the fog on Ace's mind lifted, so when I first activate the true and false eyes accidentally, it was like I made a path for the river to flow, and I couldn't control it, so my chi became empty right. Ace asked happily as if he solved some big question. Yes, System agrees with his statement. Just as he was about to ask another question, he heard System cold voice in his mind again. System can only answer 2 of host questions after the first mission was complete, so your next question will cost you thief points. When Ace heard it, he frowned. He has so many questions he wanted to ask, but he didn't know that he will get only 2 questions, and even that after a mission. If he knows about it before, he would have asked something more important. Thief points are more important, Ace thought while nodding. At least now he knows that the cultivation techniques are a must-have thing if he wants to become strong. He opens his technique panel. Available cultivation techniques. Heaven Stealer technique, first vol. Price, 100 thief points TP. Dual Shadow Swords, basic technique. Price, 10 thief points TP. System, what is different in these 2 techniques in the store? Are they not for the same thing? Ace has to ask this, because one was priced at 100 while the other was only 10. 2 TP, System emotionlessly voice sounded in his mind. Just take it. 2 TP are nothing if he could save 90 TP. Yes, those 2 are very different. Heaven Stealer first volume can only be cultivated by host, and it is made especially for a thief. Moreover, it has both martial 1 and soul cultivation techniques. While Dual Shadow Swords is a basic form of weapon cultivation technique, it is for host to train in the weapon, not for body and soul. Ace was astonished by this answer. If it has both techniques, and only I can cultivate it, then that prize is reasonable. He mused, I should buy both of them. I also didn't know how to use weapons as well. Ace bites his lip and said in a mosquito voice, give me both Heaven Stealer technique and Dual Shadow Swords. As he said those words with every bit of energy he has. With just one command, his TP became 150 TP to 40 TP. His heart was bleeding. My precious thief points. Ace wanted to cry right now. Body cultivation. Ace pays 110 TP for both techniques, and just like before, information about both techniques began to drill into his brain. Memories after memories enter his brain. After 5 minutes, he opened his eyes. Is this really a cultivation technique, just for a thief? Ace thought in a daze. He never saw any cultivation technique before, but after seeing Heaven Stealer, he was convinced that this system was not from this world. Because if someone wants to cultivate this technique, they can't use normal worldly chi and has to absorb heavenly QI. Heavenly chi is chi that no one can use, or more importantly, heavenly chi is off limits to every being. However, this technique can make it possible by stealing it from heaven itself. It was a taboo-like technique. That's why Ace was so stunned after getting the memories about Heaven Stealer technique. If I want to cultivate this technique, then I have to steal from heaven. Worthy of its name, Heaven Stealer, and technique tailor-made for a thief, I can also choose not to cultivate it, but I'll definitely miss a chance to become extraordinary. Ace mused while still in a stupor. If he chose this path, there will be no turning back again, because in memories, Ace finds that the practitioner of this technique is called Heaven Stealer. It will become the enemy of heaven, and it has to face its wrath every time it wanted to advance in a major cultivation realm. Ace suddenly remembered that day when he declared that if I have some kind of power that allowed me to steal, I'll steal from heaven itself. He grinned when he remembered his childish words. That time he was extremely anxious and said those words in anger. However, he never imagined that he would hold that kind of power in his hand, and so soon at that. Now, he just has to pick if he wanted to use it or not. Ace begins to laugh haughtily. How heaven you steal my loved ones from me, and I can't do anything about, but time has changed. Now I have the power to steal from you. So why am I hesitating for? From now on, you, heaven, and I, Ace, are enemies. He declared arrogantly. A Heaven Stealer was going to be born. Ace calms down after he makes his life's biggest choice. He starts reading memories about Heaven Stealer Technique seriously. Heaven Stealer Technique Volume 1, it is divided into two parts, one for body one and one for the soul. The system didn't lie about it. Ace mutters while continue reading the memories. First part is called Heavenly Crystal Body. It is like this world martial cultivation system. The difference is it used heavenly QI instead of worldly QI. Cultivation is divided into 8 large realms, and all 8 of them have their own small realms. The first realm of cultivation is Heavenly Gates 1, also known as Self-Opening Realm. It has 5 small realms: Heavenly Skin, Heavenly Muscles, Heavenly Bones, Heavenly Organs, and Heavenly Heart. With every self-gate open, I'll be able to store more amount of Heavenly Chi. At the peak of the Heavenly Gate realm, my meridians would open. This is so interesting. This whole cultivation is fascinated. Ace reads with full of enthusiasm as he praises this cultivation. So Lil Sis has already opened the first gate when I saw her status last time. I have to work hard if I want to meet her in the future. Ace felt little pressure, but became even more determined. Second part of Heaven Stealer Technique Volume 1 is called Heavenly Black Wind Soul. It's a soul cultivation technique and didn't have any realms like martial cultivation. However, it has 5 soul forms. First, I have to form a formless wind soul core, and after that comes 5 color forms of soul wind: yellow form, orange form, red form, golden form, and black form. Ace takes a deep breath of cold air after reading the full first volume of Heaven Stealer Technique. This first volume is enough for him to stand at peak of this world. After the excitement from Heaven Stealer Technique lowers a bit, he starts reading Dual Shadow Swords Technique with full attention. It only has a single part called Basic Shadow Sword Intent, and it only has 4 realms. Sword as Arm First Realm, Sword of Fingers Second Realm, Sword in Mind Third Realm, and Sword in 10 of Shadow. Final Realm. Well, that is what you can accept for a 10 TP technique. Ace was somewhat disappointed in this technique after going over Heaven Stealer first. But little did Ace know that if words of a technique that can teach you a weapon intent, and not just any intent, but shadow intent gets out, it will be a bloody war. Because you can't learn weapon intent from just reading, much less an element type intent. Because weapon intent comes naturally, no one can teach it. So Ace has this miraculous technique, yet he still says he was disappointed by it. If words get out, every top expert in the world will feign in anger. Well, it can still teach me the basics of how I can use Chi with dual swords, so it is worth the price. I also need dual swords to start practicing this technique. The system has them, but they're expensive. I can still do without them. I can just buy some from the weapon market. It's not like I don't have any money. But I have to save my thief points, TP, for an emergency. Ace finished making his final decision. After a whole evening of excitement, Ace finally starts to calm down. He eats his dinner early because he was going to start his cultivation of the Heaven Stealer Technique. Ace calms his mind and closes his eyes. As he closes his eyes, he starts to recite the Heaven Stealer Technique first part, Heavenly Crystal Body scripture in his mind. Body is the foundation of every living being, but Heaven's made everyone's body with many flaws because it didn't want them gain power that can pose a threat to it. It steals from everyone. It steals their right to gain strength from birth. It steals their right to live long lives. Then it steals their life itself. The biggest thief of eternity is high heaven itself. My unwillingness will cut open the path that leads to its hidden treasuries. I will draw the power from its hidden treasures that it steals from others, and make it become my everlasting power. I will steal from it. I will steal until I become eternal. Ace recite in his heart. He couldn't help but moved by Heaven Stealer scripture. They were only truth in them and no false. They were like knives to heaven because they reveal heaven's dirty secrets. After Ace starts cultivating the Heaven Stealer technique, he fell into a trance-like state. An unknown time pass. Suddenly black color mist starts to fill the area surrounding Ace. This black mist was actually the Heavenly Chi. Heavenly Chi was black because it was stolen Chi from heaven itself. People say if you stole from someone you will curse by heaven, but what if you stole from heaven? You will definitely hunt down by every being that is connected to heaven, and Heaven Stealer technique was a taboo technique precisely for that reason. If you use it, you will get the heavenly chi and become stronger than others, but you will also get heaven's cursed every time you try to break into a higher realm. You'll have to face the heavenly punishment. Heaven will try to kill you every time you want to get stronger. Because if you get the heavenly chi, you'll become perfect like no other being. That's why heaven didn't allow anyone with this kind of power to exist. The moment that black mist or heavenly chi touches Ace's body, it starts to pour in his skin and begins to circulate in his meridian's channels. Now Ace is truly a real heaven stealer. At that moment, an inky eye formed in the darkness of night. It was big enough to cover the entire golden sky world starry sky. That I looked coldly in the direction of black heavenly chi, after seeing that it was just a mortal ant, and it vanished. After the eyes vanished from golden sky world, a dark blue eye formed on Ace's forehead. Ace didn't realize it and didn't even feel anything. That dark blue, I looked coldly in the direction of that eye where it vanished not long ago. It also vanished in Ace's forehead the next moment. Ace didn't realize that he's already marked by heaven as a mortal enemy, and now it will try to kill him at any cost every time it gets the chance. Ace was currently feeling like he was flying in the sky because of heavenly chi. His entire body was being washed by heavenly chi. A black soot-like substance starts pouring out of his skin. That substance was impurities of his body. This was one of the benefits of heavenly chi. It can purify the body and make it perfect. Ace was immense in cultivation and didn't notice the passage of time. After 10 hours, the sun was rising and the sky starts to lit up. Inside the small hut, Ace looked like a black wax statue right now. He cultivates the whole night and still didn't open his eyes until he heard a sweet, cold voice. Congratulations, host, on opening the first gate of heavenly gates. The heavenly skin gate successfully. Your martial cultivation level has been updated. Martial cultivation, chi gates in normal world's cultivation system. Ace heard system notification and snap out of his deep cultivation state, and the next moment a rotten smell attacks his nostrils. He nearly throws his stomach out. Where did this rotten wax-like thing come from? Is it because of cultivation? Ace quickly runs towards the water source outside. He has to wash for quite a long time before that smell goes away. After bathing, Ace feels his senses have become somewhat sharper than before. He can now hear small sounds of insects around and see more clearly around 20 meters. His body is also much sturdier. He was much stronger than those idiots at least. This is how cultivation feels like, huh? I can feel my skin is absorbing heavenly chi on its own now, and I didn't felt extreme hunger like before. This is quite convenient, actually. Ace felt excited after feeling his new prowess. System shows me my status. He transmitted in mind eagerly. Underscore. Eternal Thief System. Main panel. Host. Ace White. Race. Human. No bloodline. Heaven. First heaven mortal sky heaven. Cultivation level of first heaven. Martial cultivation heavenly gates first heavenly skin gate. EXP. 50/1000. Soul cultivation mortal. SP. 19/20, 31 extra. Thief points TP 40. Skills 5. Cultivation technique 0. Current mission 0. Underscore. My soul cultivation level is still at 0. I have to practice it this time. Ace mumbles to himself. Let's head toward the weapon market, first to see if I can get a good swords pair there. I need them to cultivate the dual shadow swords. Ace heads out after deciding his direction. But first, he goes towards a slums park where the loot was hidden to withdraw some ruby coins because he knows weapons were quite expensive, especially the ones he needs. It was very early in the morning, so no one was around the park. Ace quickly dug out the bag and withdraw 1,000 ruby coins from it, and put them in the black pouch that Alina left him. He quickly hid the bag there again and left hurriedly. The weapon market of the outer region was the second biggest business market after the pill market. The weapon market mostly deals with normal warriors and some novice cultivators, because mostly warriors and cultivators like using weapons. It gives the weapon market as much value as the pill market. Normal weapons were made by normal blacksmiths, but weapons for cultivators were made by chi crafters. Crafters held the same status as alchemists. Crafters were also rare, but not as much as alchemists. If you know how to control your chi, you can become a novice crafter. Crafters have ranks like alchemists, but different their skills measured by stars from 1 to 9. 1 star is lowest and 9 are highest. Weapons created by crafters can withstand and release the chi of a cultivator. The more chi a weapon withstands, the higher its star rank will be. In a 2-star city like Riverflower City, there is only a 2-star chi crafter present, and he gets the same treatment as the white rank alchemist. As for 1-star crafter, they were present in the inner region of the city. They were few, but all of them work for big families. The outer region only has novice crafters. Ace reached the weapons market. Ace didn't eat anything, so first he goes toward a nearby restaurant and orders dishes that he likes. As he was eating, when he heard people talking, "Hey, did you hear about the black ghost that robbed Swindler Billy's shop?" But Billy still couldn't find him anywhere, no matter how much he searches high and low. Yesterday, he even kills 4 men just because they have the same height as the black ghost. Well, he's been killing anyone who he suspects to be black ghost for some days, and it's getting worse with each passing day. But most of the people believe that black ghost is someone from the inner region, and that's why Billy's at his wit's end, because he can't do anything to inner region peoples. I have to admit that black ghost person has really some guts and skill. He steals Billy's wealth under his damn nose, haha. You said damn right. The peoples he cheated were extremely happy when they heard the news. Some even called black ghost their hero, and some poor commoners are calling him hero of justice, huh? Said another man while laughing. What do you think will black ghost strikes again? Well, no one knows the answer, but some people hopping for him to strike against other people like Billy. You know, everyone has tightened their security because they're afraid of black ghost paying them visit next, ha ha ha. Ace becomes stunned when he heard their conversation. They call me black ghost, not a bad name for a thief, but that bastard fatty is killing innocent people because he can't find me. Ace frowned and was furious after thinking about Billy's baseless killing. After all, he was just a 12-year-old boy, and he never would have thought his thievery can involve the innocent. If I had the chance, I'll avenge them and do something for them. Ace vows in his heart. After eating his fill, Ace starts heading towards the weapon market. As he enters the market, he saw many good-built and tall men. They were currently roaming around the weapon shops and selecting suitable weapons for themselves. Ace's aim was not a normal weapon because he knew they can't withstand his heavenly chi. He wants a 1-star weapon or a half-star weapon at least. In the deeper part of the weapon market, there were not many people here like the outer part of the market. Ace looked at the shop in front of him. Its name was Cole Weapon Shop. He goes inside the shop and saw rows of shining weapons. Beautiful was the thought that comes to his mind when he saw those rows of weapons. Boy, did you lost your way here? A loud and heavy voice sounded in the shop. Ace looks around and spotted a tall, muscular, black, middle-aged man with a serious look on his face. He was Cole, the owner of this shop. Ace saw Cole and his serious face and speak respectfully. "Sir, I'm here to select a weapon for myself." "What kind of weapon do you want?" Cole gets straight to business. "I want a pair of swords, 1 short and 1 long, capable of withstanding QI. Ace also didn't beat around the bush and tell Cole his requirements. The suitable weapons he needs to practice his dual shadow swords technique was a pair of long and short swords. "You are a cultivator?" For the first time on Cole's serious face, an expression of astonishment surfaces. Cultivators were not rare in the weapon market, but cultivators as young as Ace were not common here. They were either in the inner region of the city or in 1-star cities. That's why Cole was surprised. "Yes, sir." Ace answered with little pride. It was his first time telling someone of his little achievement. Well, it is rare to see a cultivator your age here, but doesn't get too prideful. In big cities, there are many like you, and even in our inner region, there are many young and talented people like you. So never get prideful. because there's always someone above you. Cole berate, with a serious face. His previous surprised expression was long gone. Thank you. I'll remember, sir, teaching. Ace didn't show any displeasure because he could tell that Cole didn't have any hidden attention or disdain towards him. Cole was just teaching him like a senior, and that's why he thanked him politely. He is right. Even my lil sis, who is many years younger than me, was at the first gate of Chi Gate's realm, and now that her bloodline is awakened, she must be more powerful. So I can't become arrogant with just this little achievement. Ace considered earnestly. Not bad, boy, your attitude is right for cultivation. Remember, never get arrogant no matter what. Or when someone stronger crushes you like an ant, you will never be able to stand again. Now let's go, I'll show you sword pairs. It's quite rare for someone to use dual sword style nowadays, so I didn't have many sets, only 3 sets are available, and all of them are half-star rank. In the outer region, you can only find half-star weapons. If you want a better one, go to the inner region, said Cole coolly, and start moving towards his workshop at Rare. Cole starts to like Ace for his humble attitude, so he gave him some advice. If it were someone else, he would never even bother to say an extra word. Ace followed Cole in his workshop. Cole quickly grabbed 3 long and slim wooden boxes from the corner of the workshop. He opens the boxes one by one. When every box was opened, shining swords, giving a sharp and cold feeling come to view. These red color sword set are called Fire Twin Swords, prize 500 ruby coins. This set is called Sharp Edge Twin Swords, 300 ruby coins. And this last set is called Black Raptor Pair. It can cut metal like butter, and the best between these 3 sets prize of 900 ruby coins. Cole gets straight to point with introduction and price. Ace saw the sets inside the wooden boxes. He could tell they were not normal pairs of swords. He sends a bit of heavenly chi towards them to see which one can withstand it. When heavenly chi made contact with them, they immediately start trembling. Cole also notices this and becomes stunned. This kid is not a normal one. Cole inhales a breath of cold air. Ace was disappointed. These pair of swords can't withstand his heavenly chi for long. Sir, I will buy this raptor pair. This set can withstand his chi for the longest of 3. Okay, take the case and follow me to the counter. You can pay there. Cole turns around after giving Ace an order. Ace didn't mind and grabbed the case with the raptor set following after Cole. At the main shop, Ace paid 900 ruby coins. He was just about to leave when he heard Cole's pressing voice. Boy, I can tell these pair of swords can't withstand your power, so find a suitable one for yourself as soon as possible. It is also good for your cultivation as well, because those who cultivate weapons didn't change them daily. Remember, a weapon is like a life to a warrior. If it breaks during the battle, he will die. Cole gave a piece of rare advice to someone and headed back towards his workshop like he didn't care about Ace anymore. Ace thinks about what Cole said and couldn't help but agree with him in this. I'll buy those swords and system shop next time when I complete my mission. Ace lightly bowed towards the workshop where Cole has vanished. Now he considers him a teacher who gave him advice. After he returned to his little hut. Finally, he has a pair of swords to practice the dual shadow swords technique. It was time to cultivate again. It has been 1 month since the incident of Black Ghost. Billy wasn't able to find a despicable thief and in the end, lost his mind. He killed almost 100 innocent people. In the end, citizens can't take it anymore and gather together outside of the outer city guard post to protest against Billy. Guard post of the city maintains the law and order of the entire outer region, so they had no choice but to act because they also can't ignore this type of behavior. If Billy kills in secret, then there was no problem, but he was killing people in broad daylight. The families of victims were infuriated and their eyes bloodshot as they protest outside the city guard post. At last, the commander of the guard post gave in and arrested Billy. This is how one of the richest people in the outer region, Billy Bill, meets his doom. He was once known as an intelligent businessman, but even he lost his mind and became a madman after losing his wealth. Such a tragedy. Slums area of Riverflower City. Ace has changed a lot in a single month. He became taller and his skinny figure was somewhat gone and become a little muscular. He looked even more handsome and a little mature. In 1 month, Ace practices his Heaven Stealer technique in the morning and practices his other skills in Dual Shadows Swords technique at nighttime in the rundown park. Ace still can't master the Dual Shadow Swords technique first realm because he didn't understand what it means by sword as an arm and only gained little mastery over it. Now he finally understands just how hard this technique was. But he didn't get disheartened and continue to practice. On the other hand, his 5 basic skills were improved by a large margin. Today was just like another day. Ace has his eyes closed and reciting Heaven Stealer technique, Black Wind Soul Scripture. Soul is the core of every myriad being. It contains their conscious and everlasting will. Heaven makes the soul the weakest part of every being, because the soul is a key to reach heaven's secrets. It didn't want anyone to glimpse into its secrets. Nonetheless, I shall make my soul like the wind of emptiness and drift for eternity until I uncover heaven's secrets. In 1 month, Ace didn't manage to form the formless wind soul core of the heavenly black wind soul technique, as he did instantly with the heavenly crystal body technique on his first try. With just that, one can imagine how hard it was to cultivate the soul. Although today, Ace feels different. He was in deep meditation state when he grasped something, and suddenly a tremor runs through his mind. He feels the space between his eyebrows trembling and becoming hot. The very next moment, he feels something forming out of nowhere between his eyebrows. Ace feels sharp pain, but he grits his teeth and endures. Inside his head, a space was forming in the place between eyebrows with dark, formless mist. This was the heavenly soul chi. The difference between the soul and martial chi was it cannot be seen by naked eyes. Only soul cultivators has the ability to see the soul chi, or high-level martial cultivators can feel it. The space forming only takes a minute, and after completion, it was 10 cubic meters large and was completely black. After space was stabilized, something even more fascinating happened. Inside the empty dark space in the center, a little globe of white, transparent mist begins to form. The globe of mist was colorless and only the size of a fist. After that globe of mist stabilized, it begins to spin clockwise in the center of his newly formed black space. It was like a peaceful moon in the dark sky. The moment that globe starts to spin, Ace's whole body jolted, and despite his eyes being closed, he was able to see and feel 10 meters area around him clearly. Because he has finally formed the formless wind soul core, or a soul core. Soul core has granted him heavenly sense and soul sense. With heavenly sense, Ace can even see through walls and detect any hidden enemy within the range of 10 meters. Nothing can hide inside the field of his heavenly sense. The more powerful his soul cultivation becomes, the more his heavenly sense would grow. That's why practitioners chose to cultivate soul, because it can give a lot more supernatural ability than martial cultivation. However, one can't cultivate in the body if they cultivate in the soul, because this is the law set by heaven. It is the law of heaven that if you want something, then you have to give up on something as well. That's why if you want to cultivate in soul, you can't cultivate in body, and the same rule applied to martial cultivators. They can't cultivate their souls either. However, this law didn't apply to Heaven Stealer technique, because it can help cultivate both body and soul simultaneously. If Ace finds out about it, he would definitely go mad with happiness. At this moment, Ace was using his heavenly sense unknowingly, when suddenly the newly formed space between his eyebrows trembled and vomits a mouthful of blood as his eyes sprang open. His face became pale as a ghost. "System, what happens?" Ace asked weakly. "Congratulations, host, for achieving small success in Black Wind Soul technique. You have formed the Formless Wind Soul core. Your soul cultivation level has been updated. System gives him an update." "That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, why did I get shocked?" Ace was speechless by this, because even he knows about the forming of the soul core. Just like martial chi and body, the soul also has soul chi for soul. Just now, host has overdrawn his soul chi while using heavenly sense. It's just like when I have overdrawn my martial chi when I was using true and false eyes. And soul also has soul chi, and my soul chi is heavenly soul chi no less. I can now see anything in 10 meters area around me. It's like my personal space. Ace mulled over it and become excited. Status. Underscore, 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 underscore. Eternal Thief System. Main panel. Host, Ace White. Race, human, no bloodline. Heaven. First heaven, mortal sky heaven. Martial cultivation. Heavenly gates, first heavenly skin gate. EXP, 50/1000. Soul cultivation. Formless wind soul core. SP, 30 out of 100. Thief points, TP 40. Skills 5. Stealth basic middle level. Silent steps basic middle level. True and false eyes basic low level. Treasure opening hands basic art, third form. Pickpocket low level. Cultivation technique 2. Heaven Stealer technique, volume 1, dual shadow swords. Thief points, TP 40. Current mission 0. Underscore, 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 underscore. After seeing his progress of the month, Ace nodded in satisfaction. His hard work was not in vain. Without EXP and SP, my progress will not halt, but it will be quite slow, so I need a mission or some other way to earn EXP and SP. Ace mused because he could tell after practicing the Heaven Stealer technique that he can progress without EXP and SP, but it will take him a long time to achieve a breakthrough. EXP and SP were like elixirs or pills to him. The more he has, the faster he progresses. I can't do mission here anymore. Enough innocent peoples have been killed already. I should sneak into the inner region and try robing those rich bastards. Ace starts to prepare after he decided to go into the inner region. Ace was now confident about stealing from anyone in the outer region. But he wouldn't do that because he was observing Billy for the full month and saw innocent people getting killed each day. He was planning to kill Billy after forming the Soul Core, but alas, he was too late, and now Billy has been arrested already. He can't get revenge for all those innocent people. Now Ace would steal from those nobles of the inner region, and they can't blame these outer region commoners for it. That's why he was going to sneak into the inner region tonight. If he wanted, he could just show his status as a cultivator and enters the inner region without any problem. But he didn't want, because if he goes in this way, he has to register himself to the City Lord Mansion. By doing it, his records will be open for anyone to see because he was a resident of this city and anyone can find about him with little research. If someone investigates him, they will find out that he was just a poor little kid without any guardians and who worked at a restaurant as a dishwasher for 5 years. Then how will he explain becoming a cultivator all of a sudden? And most importantly, where did he get the cultivation technique from? He can always say that his parents left one for him because they were also cultivators. But he's not doing it because Ace didn't want anyone to know that he was in the inner city. Also, in this way, Ace can rob anyone and no one will ever know where the robber came from. If he was going there to do thievery, why not go like a thief too? Ace collects his bag full of pill bottles and ruby coins, and of course, black ghost outfit from the hidden hole. He changes into the black ghost outfit and hung his bag behind. His raptor pair, swords were tied on his waist with a belt. He was completely black, only his eyes were visible through his mask eyes hole. Outer region, my home. I'll see you again next time. Mom, Dad, Grandpa, and Grandma. I'll come in the future to pay my respects after I become strong and make you guys feel proud in the underworld. Ace says his goodbyes to his parents' and grandparents' graves and heading towards the inner region of Riverflower City. This is the beginning of a legendary thief journey. Inner region gate of Riverflower City with a huge bronze gate and the only way to enter into the inner region of the city. Anyone who wants to enter the inner region, they have to be a cultivator and show their identity as a noble. It was the middle of the night, and the inner region's gate was being tightly watched by strong cultivators' guards. People were going in and out after showing their identity proof. It was a crystal identity card. By wavering it in front of the big stone beside the gate, it shows the personal information of the holder. Anyone can get one from their birthplace and any faction they have an affinity with. But this crystal identity card cost 10 ruby coins to make, and people like Ace didn't get any in their lifetime. That's why Ace didn't want information on him to get recorded here. So he could be like a ghost. No one will ever know who he was or where he came from. At this time, not far from the inner city gate, Ace was waiting for a chance to sneak in when he spotted a man looking around and smile foolishly at anyone he sees. "You're the one." After selecting the target, Ace active stealth and vanished into the darkness of night. Ace was no longer a rookie like before anymore. In stealth, no one can spot him anymore if their cultivation realm was not higher than him, but the limit was still in Chi Gates' realm, because his mastery over this skill was still at middle level. There were 4 levels of mastery for the system's basic skills: low, middle, high, and perfection. Ace follows that man with his silent steps, even nearby people, and the second gate cultivator's guards didn't notice him following that man from behind. The moment the gate opens, Ace uses the silent steps to limit and became like a gust of wind, vanished inside the inner region. No one noticed that a thief has sneaked into the inner region. After entering the inner region, Ace took a random direction and run aimlessly. First, he finds a barren place and takes cover behind a wide tree. Ace takes out a new set of clothing from his bag and changed his black ghost outfit. After changing his clothes, Ace looked at the black ghost outfit and lit a fire with some dry woods nearby. Then he throws the black outfit in the burning flames. Black Ghost is dead now. No one will connect him with a new thief of the inner region. Ace chuckled while watching the outfit and mask turn into ashes and scatter in the air with gusts of wind. After dealing with the Black Ghost matter, Ace takes a random direction again because he didn't know areas of the inner region. It was already nighttime, but there were lights on the broad streets, and many people were strolling here and there. The lights were coming from a strange glass and a long pole. Ace had never seen this kind of thing before. It was definitely different from the outer region. Ace was quite curious, but also tired after using all those skills, so he asks a passing-by person politely, "Sir, do you know where can I find an inn here?" He decided to spend the night in an inn and exploring the inner region in the morning. This person didn't seem to mind Ace's question because it was normal for people to come here for visits. "Just head in the same direction as this street, and you'll find an inn after 20 minutes walk." The person replied indifferently and mind his own business afterward. "Thank you." Ace thanked the man and didn't dwell there either. After 15 minutes, a big building afar comes to his view because of all the lights, and with his sharp eyes, he can even see this eye-catching building from a mile away. Ace speeds up his pace and reaches the big building. It has surprisingly 10 floors. Now that he sees clearly, there are small radiant stones in a glass box attached around this building. The lights were coming from them. Ace never saw this kind of stone in the outer region, nor this kind of huge building. A wooden signboard of Holy Day and was lit with those strange light stones. Ace enters the inn and saw a beautiful lady in her late 20s was sitting behind a counter desk. When she saw Ace with a bag on his back, she smiles broadly and greets him. "Welcome to Holiday Inn. How I may help you, sir?" she said smilingly in her sweet voice. "I want a room." Ace answers indifferently while acting like an arrogant rich kid. "What kind of room, sir?" We have 2 kinds of rooms. Second-class room, 10 silver coins with no special services, and first-class room for 10 gold coins with the best service, and we will serve, sir, with the meat of a wild beast and special wine. That lady introduces with a smile. "What's a wild beast?" Ace asks in puzzlement. He never heard of this kind of meat before. After all, he was what nobles called the commoners a country bumpkin. Ace ate every type of animal meat available in the outer region. But he didn't hear about this beast meat before, and it also cost 10 gold coins. One has to know that normal animal meat cost only 50 bronze coins per pound. Wild beasts are found in the wildness outside of the city. They aren't normal animals. They can cultivate like humans and become demonic beasts, so their meat contains chi. Furthermore, that what normal cultivator eats in their daily life. The lady replies while smiling, but one can see a tiny frown on her beautiful fair face. Where did this country bumpkin come from? He didn't even know about a wild beast. Is he trying to flirt with me and wasting my time? She thought irritably. Other people might not be able to notice changes in her mood, but Ace can because of soul cultivation, he could sense her mood was changing. Ace smiled wryly, but he really didn't know about these wild beasts. His knowledge of this world was extremely obscure. Well, if that's what normal cultivators can eat, then I can eat it too and see if it tastes better than beef. Ace snorted in his heart. Cultivators can live without eating, but that was after they reached a particular higher realm. The early cultivators like Ace have to eat because their chi reserves were limited and they can only draw a little power from the world with their meridians closed. However, Ace was different in this regard, as well he can live for a whole month without eating anything because his chi was heavenly chi. He eats daily for the sake of eating. I'll take one with rent of 10 gold coins. Here, 1 ruby coin, it will be enough for 10 days, right? Ace takes a ruby coin from his pocket and places it on the desk in front of that lady who was thinking while frowning. She snapped out of her daze after hearing Ace's voice and seeing a shining ruby coin on the desk. She said with a wide smile plastered on her face, "Yes, it'll be enough for 10 days. I'll immediately go and get the key for Sir's room. This key is for room number 103 on the 3rd floor. If you need anything, please contact me. I'll be here at any time. Your meals will be delivered by maids 3 times a day. Happy stay, sir." She handed over the key to Ace and sends a servant to escort him to the room. After entering the room, Ace sighs in astonishment. This room is really big, at least 5 times bigger than my old hut. For him, this room was really luxurious. Ace put his bag and Raptor Sword's pear wooden case down in the corner of the room. I have to deal with these pills first. I wonder if someone will buy them without noticing anything. Ace wanted to sell these pills from Fatty Billy's shop for ruby coins. Seemingly, Ace can't use these pills. When he tries, he only tastes the bitter flavor of herbs, nothing else. He concluded it was because of heavenly chi. Just as Ace was about to start his daily routine of cultivation, he senses someone was approaching his door. He instantly raised his guard and used heavenly sense. He saw there was only a maidservant with a tray in her hand. He quickly relaxes and has a sigh of relief. Just as he seen a light knocked rang in the room and a sweet voice sounded, "Sir, I'm here with your dinner." Ace opened the door with a smile on his face. He received the tray of dishes from the maidservant. "Thank you." The maidservant was astonished. No one had ever thanked her in all her years of working here, because nobles, and especially cultivators, are all arrogant bunches. They would never thank a mortal maid like herself. She was still astonished by this young boy's early behavior when Ace took out a ruby coin from his pocket and placed it in her hand. "Here, buy something good for your kids with it," Ace said with generosity. Ace was still acting like a rich young master, but he didn't know even rich people didn't give a ruby coin to a maidservant as a tip. The maidservant was stunned by Ace's huge tip and panic as she quickly rejects. "Yes, sir, I can't take it. Just a silver coin would be sufficient. And I didn't have any kids, I'm single." When she said that, she blushed heavily. But Ace didn't notice her blush and insist, "Just take it if you didn't have any kids, then buy something for your parents." Ace closed the door without waiting for an answer. That maid held the ruby coin in her hand absent-mindedly, and after some moment, she tightly clenched ruby coins in her hand and left with tears in her eyes. Maybe it was a coincidence or luck, but she really needed this kind of money at this moment. Ace didn't think much of the early encounter and starts enjoying the roast wild beast meat. As he eats, he feels this meat contains 100 or even 1,000 times more energy compared to normal meat. That lady didn't lie about chi in this meat, and it's more delicious than beef. No wonder cultivators only eat this kind of meat. Ace mumbles like some silly child and enjoys his meal. After finish eating, Ace started to cultivate his martial cultivation since he just achieves a breakthrough in his soul cultivation. Night Pass was a sunny morning and a normal day for inner region residents, but Ace was the start of his new journey. Ace eats his breakfast provided by the inn and starts his exploration of the inner region. He received a map of the inner region from that reception lady. After studying the map for a while, Ace decided to go towards the main market of River Flower City's inner region. The inner region didn't have separate markets for pills and weapons, and this is the only market in the entire inner region. The inner city was divided into many territories by different noble families. Most of the inner region was under these families' control. That's why it only has a single market that was controlled by all the noble families together. Any family that owns property in the inner region or inner city is called a noble family. Ace was going there to sell these half-white grade pills. The main market of the inner region was bursting with activities. Many merchants come here from outside of the city to sell their goods and buy Riverflower City specialties. It was, after all, a two-star city. Inside the central part of the main market, this place is the busiest area of the entire market. There was a big 15-story tall building here, and it was quite a famous one at that. Its name was Kelby Pills and Weapons Shop. It was famous because this shop was owned by the Kelby family, one of the top 3 noble families of Riverflower City. Kelby family has a history of 100 years and is also a family of cultivators. That's why they control a big portion of the inner city areas, and no one dares to mess with them inside the city. Ace was currently standing in front of the Kelby Pills and Weapons Shop. When he comes to the main market, he asked around about shops that deal with the pill business, and he finds about the Kelby Pills and Weapons Shop. It was one of the biggest shops here that bought pills from outside merchants, and most importantly, they didn't ask about where the goods came from or any personal information about their customers. That's why Ace chose this shop to sell off his loot. When Ace enters the shop, he didn't even have a chance to look around when a beautiful young lady comes in front of him and speaks with a smile. "Dear customer, what kind of business do you have? Are you selling for buying?" She didn't beat around the bust and asked him directly because it was quite crowded in the shop, so it seemed she was in a hurry to deal with others. "I want to sell my pills." Ace answered with a grimace when he saw the big crowd here. He didn't want many people to see his face. "Dear customer, you have come to the right place. Please follow me to the second floor. Their master appraisal will appraise your pills' quality and gives you a fair price for them," said the young lady with a smile. She was working here for many years and can judge someone who they're dealing with just by their appearance and demeanor. "He seems to be from a 1-star city, a bumpkin." Oomph. She scoffs in her heart and added Ace to her list of bumpkins. If Ace was someone from the inner region or of a higher status, his clothes wouldn't be this old-fashioned and made from normal material. Anyone could tell that he was poor or not from a high-end city. And his biggest mistake was he should never tell what kind of goods he was selling right from the start. He should have waited to find a quiet place first and then shows his hand. Well, what can poor Ace do? He wasn't a shrewd merchant and quite young and inexperienced. He recently became rich and didn't know how to handle wealth. No matter how careful he was bound to make mistakes. The second floor of the shop wasn't crowded as the first floor. The young lady takes Ace to a small counter desk. There was an old man with gray hair sitting behind in a wooden chair comfortably. "Master Matthew, this gentleman wants to sell pills here. Can you please appraise them and give a fair price?" said the lady as she winks at the old man, that only he notices and exactly knows what it means was. However, Ace instantly noticed something amiss when she gave her a signal because they can't hide their disdain from his soul sense. It was the second sense he receives after forming the soul core, soul sense. It's an innate ability and continuously stay active. It helps Ace detect the soul fluctuations of others. With it, he can feel changes in other party mood or consciousness and detect enemy with malicious thought 10 meters around himself. It seems something is not right with these two, and this soul sense is quite remarkable. Ace thought grimly and was ready if something happens he would escape. This old man was one of many appraisal apprentices of this shop, and everyone called him master because of his old age, and show some respect to an elder. He wasn't actually a master appraisal. When old man Matthew receives the signal, he immediately knows that this kid was a bumpkin and he didn't have to be serious while dealing with him. "Haha, of course, I'll give this little brother a fair price." "Little brother, show me what kind of pills did you want to sell?" Matthew said, while smile like an elder who was talking to his junior. If Ace didn't notice hidden disdain in his eyes, he would have thought this old man was quite a nice person. Now, he didn't buy his honey words, but he can't just leave now and was already here, so he chose to show him pills first and see what he does. Ace moves toward the dark valley vigilantly. Cries of a child keep coming from the valley from time to time again. When Ace reached the valley, it was dark. He only saw a little silhouette in the valley's corner with the dim light of the moon. When he hears the crying voice was coming from the little silhouette, he relaxes a little and slowly walks towards it. By hearing the mellow voice, Ace guesses this child is probably a little girl. The little girl hears footsteps approaching her and immediately becomes alert. She stops crying and looks at the owner of footsteps with her teary yet intelligent eyes. She becomes scared after thinking someone is approaching her with bad intentions. She suppresses her fear and tension and starts clenching her small fist. The little girl is ready for a fight. Ace didn't see clearly, but he could vaguely see the little girl stop crying and clench her fist as if she would fight him if he approaches her. He couldn't help but admire her courage. She looked like 4 or 5 years old by her height and voice. Ace guessed with a hint of interest in his eyes. Even with dim moonlight, the valley was still quite dark, so he couldn't see her appearance. Ace walks a little closer and stops 2 meters away from the little girl because he didn't want to scare her any further. Ace lightly said to the little girl, "I don't have any bad motives, and I'm only here because I heard your cries. Where are your parents? Do you got separated from?" Ace asks as gently as possible just to not scare her. But his voice was a little hoarse, as if he didn't speak for a long time, and the little girl didn't answer him either. "It seems she's afraid of me." Ace smiled bitterly. He also didn't expect her to talk with a stranger in this kind of place, either. If it was him in her shoes, he would have done the same, or he might have yelled out loud for help long ago. This little thing was still quite brave to stand silently there and let him speak first without yelling in fear. "Look, it is late at night, and there might be some bad guys near. If you don't want to get caught by them, go to your parents' or house. It's extremely dangerous to be here by all yourself." Ace earnestly warns her he didn't want her to be kidnapped by those thugs around the area. Ace has been crossing this area for almost 4 years and knew just how dangerous this area was. Once he was caught by thugs when he was passing here, and after finding out that he was dirt poor, they only beat him up and let him go. He didn't dare to imagine what would they do to this little girl. Since he has already warned her now, it was her choice to listen or not. Ace turns around and began walking towards the exit of the valley. When the little girl hears his warning, and somehow she could tell this person didn't have any evil intention, she becomes less vigilant, and when she saw this person was about to leave, panic appears on her face, and she became afraid after thinking about something. "Wait." The little girl called in her childish mellow voice. When Ace heard her voice for the first time, he was a little stunned and think in bewilderment. How could someone's voice be so beautiful? It was quite normal for him to think like this since he never even talked with anyone, much less a girl of his age. Ace turns around and glances at her again. The little girl noticed his stare and said faintly, "I don't know where my parents are and what they look like." When Ace hears her lovely voice again, he bewilders for a second and asks softly, "Then why are you in this kind of place and crying alone by yourself?" Hearing Ace's question, the little girl suddenly remembers something and starts crying again as if someone hit her. When Ace saw her crying again, he feels little pain in his heart that has been gone cold for a long time. "What happens?" He quickly asks her in confusion. The girl said while crying weakly, "I'm hungry." When Ace heard this, it stunned him for a moment, and unknowingly, a smile creeped out on his face. "She's just a child after all. I have food in my house. If you have nowhere to go, come with me." Ace didn't know why he said that, but seeing a small child like her in this situation, he couldn't help but think of himself for all those years ago. Maybe Ace saw his old, innocent self in her. He didn't know, nor did he have the answer. But for some peculiar reason, he just wants to help her. The little girl immediately stops crying after listening to Ace's offer. She deeply looks at the person in front of her. She couldn't see his face, but from his voice and stature, she could easily guess that he's also young and seemed sincere. In the end, she was still an innocent little girl, so when she thought that he's sincere with the offer, "Okay, let's go," she agrees to go with him. It's not like she can't protect herself if things go awry. Ace has a sigh of relief when she accepts to go with him, because after exchanging some words with her, he didn't want to leave her alone in this palace. Now that she accepts his offer, Ace felt relief for some reason. Ace didn't want to stay here for long, and he turns around and walks toward the exit of the valley. The little girl follows behind him. When they came out, dim moonlight was shining on the street, and both of their faces become obvious. Ace was a little curious and couldn't help but turn around to look at the little girl's face. But when he saw her face, it bewitched him. Her face was oval with milky white skin, a sharp thin nose, hollow cheeks, and thin cherry lips. Her big watery blue eyes were shining like stars, and her long black falling hair was complementing her pale skin perfectly. She was like a sculpture carved by a divine artisan. Ace was instantly captivated by her otherworldly cuteness, and his heartbeat races. She's so cute, this is the only thought that comes to his mind. The little girl also looks back at Ace. The handsome face of the little boy also overwhelmed her, especially his dark blue eyes like a starry sky. He was a little skinny, but nothingness, he was handsome. Suddenly their eyes met, and time was as if it stopped. Both of their faces redden, and they quickly avert their gazes. The atmosphere between them becomes a little awkward after that. Ace quickly began walking toward his little house to hide his embarrassment. The little beauty hurriedly follows behind him. She also didn't know what happened, but that was not something good that she knows. Ace was walking silently in front, but his heart was still pounding, and a sudden thought surfaced his mind as he said to break the strange mood, "What is your name?" The little girl answers after some consideration, "Alina." "Alina, huh, good name." Ace thinks as he feels delighted for some reason. After some hesitation, the little girl finally asks back, "What's yours?" "Ace." He answers without even thinking. After some time, they reach Ace's house. It was a normal-size house, and the only thing that his parents have left for him. He opens the door, and the inside was extremely neat and clean. He's living alone in here for 3 years now. When Matthew saw Ace grabbing those 2 pill bottles, he loses his calm composure and instantly yells, "No." Matthew was about to attack Ace when he forced himself to stop in his tracks because he finally remembers standing in Kelby Pills and Weapons shop. Because of his loud yell, everyone around starts to take notice. "What? Don't tell me. I need your permission for selling my things?" Did Kelby Pills and Weapons shop treat its customers like this? Ace took advantage of this situation and raised his voice while questioning Matthew. Just as Ace anticipated, everyone around them starts to look towards Old Man Matthew with questionable gazes and begins whispering something to each other. That attendant also panicked. This old man never does this kind of thing. What happens? He's acting like an idiot. And no. It was just a misunderstanding. You can do anything with your things. I simply didn't feel well, so I lose my composure. Everyone, I apologize to let you all see me in this state. I hope that everyone can forgive this old man's rudeness. Matthew bowed towards everyone apologetically. This brat is a cunning one. If he didn't hurriedly grab those pills, I would have never behaved like a moron. He tricked me into acting rashly, and now I can't do anything while he can take those pills away. But how the hell did he notice? Matthew grinds his teeth in frustration and was right about Ace outwitting him acting like way. Now Ace can leave safely with those suspicious pills. It was just a misunderstanding, and we thought there would be a good show to watch. What a letdown. "Everyone, let's mind our own business," said someone who was watching with chuckles, and after hearing him, all others chortled as well and start minding their own business again. "Haha, little brother, these pills all are yours, so it is your design to sell them or not. So just sell what you want and take what you didn't want to sell. We have no objection." Old Man Matthew turned to Ace and said as he laughs dryly that looks quite ugly, "Oh, don't worry, I only need these 2 healing pills for myself. I'm selling all the other pills to you." Ace replied with an innocent smile as if he didn't do anything. "Go and report this transaction to upper floors and get 23,500 ruby coins for our little brother here. I'm not feeling quite well at this moment, so I'm going to retire for today." Old Man Matthew left towards the upper floor of the building in a hurry with an obnoxious face. Why is he going that way? Thought the young attendant, but couldn't find an answer. She didn't settle on it and quickly fetch Ace's dues. "Here is Ruby Crystal Card. Your 23,500 ruby coins are in it. You can use it like normal currency or withdraw your coins from anywhere in Land of Cities," said the young attendant while giving Ace a little slim, square crystal card, white in color. On it, there were 23,500 written in red. Ace heard of these crystal cards before. They could be used anywhere in 4th level lands, so he wasn't shocked by it and accepted the white card. After taking care of his business, he quickly left because he knew that the old man was not good and up to no good. Old Man Matthew was going to the upper floors of Kelby Pills and Weapons shops building in a hurry. Matthew just entered the third floor when a man blocked his way, though, and mocked him disdainfully. "Old man, where are you going in such a hurry? Slow down, or you might die of exhaustion." This man's face was not so attractive and looks rather ordinary with short black hair. He was apprentice alchemist Caleb. He was extremely arrogant because he was apprentice alchemist at the age of 26. That's why Kelby family put vast resources into him and wanted to groom a white alchemist out of him. However, becoming a white-ranked alchemist was not so easy. That's why Kelby's family settles Caleb in this shop, so he could get some experience and make pills for the shop while at it. It was a form of practice, and he can improve his alchemist skill rather fast this way. Yet, all this care, parsed, and easy-to-earn resources made Caleb utmost arrogant, and now he didn't put anyone in his eyes. He didn't listen to anyone except the Kelby family higher-ups and their direct descendants, and always liked to play around. Young Master Caleb, this old man has something very important to do, so please forgive this old man to not entertain you, said Matthew respectfully, but there was clear hostility in his eyes because of Caleb's early curse. But alas, he can do nothing. Something important, tells me what it is, and I'll decide if it is important or not. Caleb grimaced after listening to Matthew. If he remembers correctly, this old man was very respectful, and now he was showing displeasure openly. Something is not right. Young master, please, just this once can you not be like this? It is important enough to report it to the shop owner himself, said old man Matthew while sighing in frustration. If it was someone else, he would have slapped them 1,000 times now already. Caleb was just about to flare up at this rude old guy, but think about it more carefully. What could be that important to report it to the shop owner himself? He even offends me for it. Well, I have to see for myself then. Let's go, I'm coming with you, and if it was not as important as you said it is, you know what will happen when I'm in bad mood, right? Caleb smiled gloomily and go with Matthew. They reached the 15th floor in minutes. The 15th floor of this shop was very beautifully decorated with expensive jade and marble. One can see the inner region city while standing before the window here and enjoying the city's beautiful view at night. Currently, a young man with black hair, pale skin, and luxurious clothes was sitting in a chair beside the window and watched the bursting market with a frown on his handsome face. What does it mean you couldn't find him anywhere? Is he was a ghost? Did you search every area of the outer region? The young man speaks gently, but there was clear anger in his voice. He didn't lose his composure. Yes, young master, I even search in slums, but there were only commoners who lived there. It seems after that black ghost person robbed that fatty shop, he leaves the city. He might be afraid of getting caught and escaped afterward. There was a kneeling figure in front of the young man. It wore black full-body light armor. No one could see its figure clearly with that armor, and a black fox mask was on its face. One could only saw its hazel eyes through that mask's eyes holes. From its voice was beautiful to an extreme and pleased to ears. It was the voice of a young girl. Black Fox, I'm not angry because of you. It's just that it's such a shame that I wouldn't be able to gain a new pawn and most importantly find that black ghost person's secrets, said the young man in disappointment. One could see intense greed when he talks about black ghost secrets in his eyes. Anyone who can open a 1-star treasury in minutes has to have some mysterious secret on him, and he wanted only that secret from the start. As for accepts him as a pawn, that was Black Ghost's choice. If Black Ghost accepts to be his tool, he will take care of him, but if not, he will do what he always does to his enemies, kill without mercy. The young man was still thinking about Black Ghost's secrets when he heard approaching footsteps and stated calmly, "You can go first and see if there's still any trace left from Black Ghost. I still don't think a guy with skills like him will run away this easy." After receiving her orders, Black Fox vanished like smoke. Young Master Asher, Caleb is here to pay you a visit with old Matthew. Caleb's loud voice resounded in the silent room. This young man's name was Asher Kelby, the oldest son of the current head of Kelby family and probably the next head of the Kelby family. He was known as a cultivation genius because he has already opened the third gate of Chi Gate's realms. He was intelligent, calm, and ruthless. That's why he was the shop owner of the biggest shop of the Kelby family. He didn't spare his enemies. Even if they were just mortals, he would kill them just to get rid of any future problems. "Come in," Asher said in a neutral tone. "Young master, this old man want to report something urgent," said Caleb as he pointed at Matthew beside him while smiling. He wasn't arrogant like before, even he was afraid of this ruthless young master. Speak." As if he was not interested in both of his visitors, Asher was still looking outside of the window. This old man greets the young shop owner. "I want to report. I saw 2 white ranks chi pills a boy's hand, who seems to come from a low-level city or outside of the Riverflower City." Matthew respectively repeated everything that happens. He didn't dare to hide anything from Asher. "That boy was too sharp, and I failed in the end." He finished his report, but his missed that part where he wanted those pills for himself. "Where is he now?" Asher turns around and looked at the old man's eyes undeviatingly. There was a greedy glint in his eyes, just like when he was talking about the Black Ghost. White rank pills were rare in the 2-star city. Most of them were in the hand of the city lord, and even White Great Alchemist was in the city lord mansion. And Ace has 2 of them on him, even he didn't know this right now. Even Caleb was bewildered by old man Matthew's encounter. "If I have those white rank pills, I can reach white ranked faster." Caleb greedily thought, but he can't do anything. Now Asher knows about those white rank pills. He can just forget about them, because Caleb knew he won't be able to lay his hands on any of them. The moment Matthew told Asher about them, they become his property. "After dealing with him, I came running straight to young shop owner to report," Matthew told Asher respectfully. "Caleb takes this old guy and 2 of my guards. I need those pills as soon as possible. If you can't get those pills, you 2 should disappear as well. Moreover, make sure no one will know about those pills except us 3. Is that clear?" Asher warns them coldly as his eyes turn cold and emit thick killing intent towards Caleb and Matthew. "Yes, we will get those pills no matter what," both of them said simultaneously. Drops of sweat were running on both of their faces, and their backs were also drenched in a cold sweat. "How the hell did I get involved in this shit?" Caleb cursed his bad luck. Ace exited the Kelby shop quickly and headed straight to the clothing shop nearby. He knew these pills are not normal, and that old man wants them badly. However, after finding out Ace was not easy to deal with, he would definitely report this to his superiors and take revenge on Ace for getting in his way. If he can't have those pills, then he would not let Ace have them either. Ace's conjecture was absolutely right. If Matthew were to succeed, he would have escaped the city, because these 2 pills were worth almost 100,000 ruby coins, and he could get a high price in any auction of 1-star city and could live a happy life with this much wealth. But alas, Ace gets in Matthew's way, and he wasn't a cultivator. Hence, he could only screw Ace over by telling Asher about those pills to get his revenge. Ace bought new robes from a clothing shop and changed into them. He has just exited the shop when he spotted old man Matthew with 3 other persons beside him. They were clearly looking for Ace. Those 2 tall and muscular men were Asher personal security guards, and Caleb was also between them sulking. Ace gets a dangerous feeling from those 2 men and hurriedly turns around to escape quietly. Except Matthew's old eyes were like a hawk, and he recognizes Ace even in new robes. How could he forget this rascal who steals his pills? Look, that guy wearing blue robes and a long mat hat. He's the one. Quick chase, he starts to run. Matthew cries in alarm. This old goat. Ace vituperates old Matthew while running between the masses. Ace has no choice but to use silent steps now. This was daytime, and his stealth would not work like nighttime. Therefore, he could only depend on silent steps. After using silent steps, he becomes like breeze and vanished into the mob. Where did that brat go? Caleb shouts in exasperation while keeps looking around searching for Ace's tracks. I don't know, he was too fast. One of Asher's guards said he was a second gate cultivator and the most powerful in this group. What do you mean too fast? Are you telling me that Brad is stronger than you? Caleb Bark, enraged his life was on the line after all. If they can't find Ace, he didn't dare to think about the consequences of displeasing Asher. I'm afraid, yes, he is stronger than us, I can tell after seeing his speed. The second guard answered in frustration. They also didn't want to upset Asher. What do we do then? The most afraid of them all was Matthew, who wants to see Ace in despair the most. But now, after seeing him escape like the wind, Matthew begins to regret his decision of telling Asher and brought a calamity on himself. Let's search the whole place. If we can't find him, we're dead," snapped Caleb in a panic, and they all started to search like mad dogs. Ace stopped running in an alleyway. He was panting wildly. He has used the silent steps for a quite long time to escape the old man's party. "I'm not done with you, old goat. Just you wait. I'll show you just how deeper the grave truly is." Ace was busy cursing Old Man Matthew when all of a sudden a transparent black panel emerges and shines in front of his eyes. Ace heard System's sweet voice before he could understand what has happened. A new mission has been issued. Mission panel. Honorable thief's dignity. Someone is trying to steal from a thief, and this is unacceptable. Consequently, the host has to show the despicable stealer who's the real thief is. The host has to empty the whole Kelby family treasury. The honor of a thief is in your hand, host. Rewards based on host performance. Job mission will be granted right after the host completes this mission. Time left, 2 years. Mission failure punishment. System will find another host with thief's dignity. What? Another mission, and who is this Kelby family? Aren't these people from that Kelby shop as well? Ace grumbled and has a grave expression on his face. Ace didn't imagine that he would get a mission like this, and this mission didn't seem that simple as the last one. He could tell just by the time limit of 2 whole years. Even a mission to rob Billy's shop only gave him 7 days. Thief dignity, huh? I guess you're right, I'm the thief here, yet they want to rob me. Ace pondered as he laughs bitterly. Well, first I have to escape this market from those 4 goons. Then I can find out about this Kelby family. I have 2 years, so it won't be too hard, I hope. Ace encourages himself. As Ace waits to restore his depleted chi, he quickly takes out a red pill bottle from his pocket. These pill bottles are the main reason for all these events. He opens the lid of the red bottle and sniffed it just like Matthew. The moment the pill aroma enters Ace's nostrils, he heard System voice in his head. Lowest grade pill detected. Can be converted into 10 EXP. A black little label emerges on top of the pill in the bottle. What? Ace wasn't even surprised by the second mission, but this really gave him a huge shock. Ace was always worried about how he could get EXP and SP without doing a mission, but he can't find a way. No matter how much he asked System, it won't tell him. Now all of a sudden Ace saw this sudden notification. He became speechless. System, why didn't you tell me that I can convert pills into experience point before? I could have converted those pills. I just sell into experience points. Ace was pretty annoyed with this black-hearted System. Those pills were trash pills. They can't be converted into EXP. System emotionlessly answered as if it didn't care about Ace's anger. What do you mean by trash pills? They were half-white grade pills, for hell's sake. And this pill is a white grade pill. Are you crazy calling it the lowest grade pill? Ace wanted to swear at the System right now, but held himself back. It was his fault for not checking everything thoroughly. Ace eats a random pill before, but it didn't work on him, and after simply thought that since he cultivates with heavenly chi, he can't use these normal pills. But he never would have thought that there were white ranked pills in his loot, much less he can convert them into experience points, EXP. Where did that fatty get his hands on these pills? Ace was extremely puzzled by this. Even in the inner region, these pills can bring calamity to anyone who possesses them if they don't have a background just like Ace. Yet, a normal shop owner of the outer region has 2 of them. It was rather shocking. Little did Ace know that Billy finds these pills buried in his house wall. Even he was shocked about this, and in his excitement, he turned the whole house into rubble, but he didn't find any more pill bottles. As for how they got there, even Billy didn't know. He was planning to bribe these pills to some inner region family and enter the inner region, but alas, it has profited Ace in the end. If white rank pills can convert into EXP, then didn't this mean upper grade pills too can be converted into EXP? Ace mused and becomes quite excited. He has finally found a way to earn EXP without doing missions. Since these 2 pills can be converted into 20 EXP, then just convert them. That greedy old bastard wants him so bad, then let's give him white grade pills. Ace sinisterly mutters and form an evil plan to teach that old clown a small lesson. Conversion is complete. 20 EXP has been added to your status. EXP 70/1000. As Ace EXP increased, he could feel his heavenly chi restoring at a fast pace. Those 2 red pill bottles were now empty and pills inside turn into dust. They were converted into EXP. Now time to teach that old fool a lesson. Ace grins evilly. After done with his surprise preparation, Ace goes back in the direction of Matthew and quickly spotted them. The 4 of them were still desperately searching for him like mad dogs. Ace quickly places those 2 red bottles in the middle of the street carefully. Ace yells on top of his lungs, "Oh my God, someone has left white-grade pills in the middle of street." After screaming, he activated his silent steps and ran towards the hotel direction where he was staying. He has to escape now, or he won't get any more chance of escaping unnoticed. Ace's voice rang like thunder. Even from a mile away, people heard him clearly. When white-grade pill sounded, the entire market become deathly silent. Old Man Matthew also heard Ace's voice, and his eyes landed on 2 red bottles in the middle of the street. Just like him, Caleb and all other people present eyes also settled on 2 red bottles. Caleb loudly roars before anyone could grab those bottles. "Everyone, those 2 white-grade pills belong to my Kelby family. They were stolen this morning by a little thief, and we were searching for them all day. If anyone doesn't believe me, you all are welcome to confirm from young Master Asher those were his pills." As expected, when everyone hears Kelby family name, they stopped moving. But when they heard young Master Asher, their face became pale. They know what kind of person this Asher was, an extremely ruthless person. If those pills were really his, it's not worth it to risk their lives for mere pills. Seeing everyone was stopped in their tracks, Caleb nodded in satisfaction. He has to use Asher's name, or those pills would have caused a huge bloody fight. People might not know him, but they know who Asher exactly was. Haha, you just young Master Caleb. How can we take young Lord Asher's belonging? I congratulate you on finding young Master Asher belonging. Give my regards to his farewell. A well-informed person quickly identified Caleb and concluded that it was really Asher pills and quickly escaped the scene. Yes, how can we take Lord Asher's things? We also congratulate young Master Asher to find his pills. Farewell. Everyone begins to say some words as they quickly escape. Ace also saw this scene from afar, and his complexion darkened. This young Master Asher is also from Kelby family, and it seems they aren't easy to deal with. This mission is not going to be as simple as I think it would. He vanished in the midst of clamor. After watching everyone escaping the scene like flies, Caleb moves toward the red bottles with hands behind his back. He became arrogant again and relaxed after seeing no one dare to mess with him and not fight for white-grade pills. Caleb grabs both of the red bottles in his hand and smiled ear to ear like some child who just got a new toy. Old Man Matthew, did you find that little rat? Caleb questioned Matthew about Ace with a wide grin. No, I'm afraid that little brat runs too fast. He must have chosen to abandon these pills and escape with his life. Old Man Matthew said he was also beaming with joy. Brat, let's see if you dare to behave arrogantly in front of your elders again, huh? He finally gets his revenge. Well, we get the pills, so that little rat didn't matter anymore. Let's go and report back to young Master Asher. We can't let him wait. Caleb said in a hurry and quickly began to return towards the Kelby shop. Currently inside Kelby shop on the 15th floor. Caleb and Matthew were smiling like idiots. In front of them were Asher sitting in a chair, and between them was a white jade table. On the table were placed 2 red shinning pill bottles. Caleb and Matthew were expecting huge rewards for their labor. Especially Matthew, he always wanted to be a floor manager, but he didn't have the capability, but now he has contributed 2 white rank pills, and that's why he was on cloud 9. You did the right thing to use my name. Did you open these pill bottles? Asher asks coolly. He seems calm outside, but inside he was very happy after obtaining the 2 white-grade pills without much of an effort. We didn't dare to touch your belonging, young master. Both of them said at the same time. Asher was very satisfied with this kind of attitude. He also didn't like others to touch his belongings. Asher lifted the red pill bottle from the table and opened to see the white grade pill. When he opens the lid, there wasn't a pill aroma that enters his nostrils. He smells something ghastly rotten and disgusting. Asher's face's color changes from white to blue and throws red color pill bottle instinctively. Gee! The glass bottle shattered, and what comes inside was extremely little black pills. When Caleb and Matthew saw his reaction, they didn't understand what happened, but when they saw those little black pills, their face became rigged and all blood circulating within their body stopped with fear. Matthew hurriedly kneels and starts banging his head in front of purple face Asher. Why you call this rat shit white ranked pills? Asher roared in extreme humiliation. He never touched anything dirty in his entire life and was an extremely neat. However, now someone has dared to give him rat shit to smell. How could he not lose his mind and became extremely enraged? Worst of all things, he was seen doing the most disgraceful thing of his life by others. This was unforgivable. Asher didn't know who did this to him, but he does know who give him this rat shit. You can bang your head in the afterlife. Die. Asher didn't give Matthew a chance to plead for mercy and sent a kick towards Matthew's head with the full power of his cultivation base. Bang! How could a mortal like Matthew endure a cultivator kick? His head explodes like a watermelon and died because of his greed. When Caleb saw Matthew's head becoming meat pasta, he nearly throws out his stomach, but held it back because the devil was now coldly looking at him. He instantly kneels with an ashen face. I want 500 half-white grade pills this month. If you can't get it done, then you can join this old man in the underworld. If anything happened here, leak, even a little bit, remember, I didn't torture someone for a long time. Now scram. Asher threatened Caleb with thick killing intent emanating from his whole body. Asher can't kill him like this no matter how much angry he was. He would not kill a goose who laid golden eggs like that, and only given him an impossible mission that was not easy to complete. 500 half-white grade pills will teach this arrogant bastard a lesson. He was going out of hands day by day. It will put a leash on him. That was Asher's actual thoughts. Yes, thank you for showing mercy, young master. I'll not disappoint you again. Looking at Asher's piercing cold eyes, Caleb didn't have any choice but to give in. His life was more important than his pride, and this was his fault in the first place. I should have checked those pills. Shit, he'll work me to death. Caleb cursed Asher in his heart while escaped from the 15th floor. He has to start working immediately if he didn't want to end up like Matthew. After kicking Caleb out, Asher saw that last red pill bottle on the table. His anger reached a new level and barked, "Black Fox." Yes, young master. Black Fox appears like a ghost. You saw it, right? Asher was angry, but he didn't yell at her like Caleb. Yes, Black Fox nodded her head. No one can see her face, but in her amber, fox-like eyes, a peculiar glint appears. Asher became even more angrier, but she was his best subordinate, and he can't just punish her for this. It wasn't her fault to begin with. I want that scoundrel alive, no matter the cost. Go find him for me and bring him here. I want to let him know the consequences of playing with fire. Asher ordered coldly while grinding his teeth in anger. Asher hates that rascal to the bone who he didn't even know. After all, if it wasn't for him, how could a glorious young master of the Kelby family like him have to smell rat shit? He can't find peace until he tortures that dirty bastard. I'll go now and investigate him for you, young master. Black Fox said as she vanished again. But this time her voice was not emotionless anymore. There was a hint of delight in it, though in anger Asher didn't notice it. After successfully escaping from the main market, Ace was finally back to the inn. He dragged his exhausted body to his room and threw himself on the soft bedding. It was a crazy day. Well, I got a mission out of it, and a difficult one at that. But I really want to see that young Master Asher's face when he opened those pill bottles and see my special present, and not those white grade pills. Haha, that old fool will also be punished by him. After all, he was the one who tells that Asher fellow about those pills. Ace laughs while musing about the special gift he sent. But little did Ace know that Matthew was already dead and Asher was currently bloody for him. If he knows what kind of person Asher was, he wouldn't be this relaxed right now. I'll have to find information on this Kelby family tomorrow and made my plan accordingly and proceeds carefully. Ace just mumbles when he heard a light knock on the door. Thud, thud. Sir, I'm here to deliver your dinner. A mellow yet charming voice sounded in the room. Ace didn't think much about it and was going to open the door when he suddenly stopped in his tracks because he has this strange feeling that something is fishy going on here. He clearly remembered the voice of the maidservant from yesterday, the one he's given a ruby coin as a tip. She was also the one who delivered my breakfast this morning. Then why she's not here now? Did they change her? Ace's brain starts to work at full speed. He was getting a bad feeling from his soul sense, and the soul sense warning was not to be taken lightly. He was about to use his heavenly sense when the door lock, click, opened without the key. The door slowly starts to open. Ace knew the enemy has invaded his room because of the carelessness that came with his success after success, and he let his guard down. Now he had to pay the price. Seeing the door open, Ace swiftly leaps towards the corner of the room where his swords were. He quickly grabbed the two swords and was ready to fight with the great enemy who invaded his room. However, after some time, no explosion or huge army came from the open door. Are they waiting for me to make the first move? Ace thought gravely. Ace elected to jump out of a window and escape in the darkness. He was confident in escaping without a scratch, but halt his movements because he heard footsteps coming from the open door, and it was only one person. A graceful figure enters Ace's room. Just by seeing this kind of figure, one could tell it was a lady. She was 1.8 meters tall and wearing a black cheapao one with a short slit, which exposes her long, snowy leg. This dress perfectly matched her sexy figure, especially the two big peaks on her chest. They looked like they might burst out of her dress at any movement. Her long black hair was like a waterfall. Merely, it was a real pity that one can't see her face because she was wearing a black fox mask. But her gorgeous fox-like hazel eyes were twinkling like stars. Her white, delicate hands were holding a tray with Ace dinner. The fox mask-wearing girl was actually Asher's top subordinate, Black Fox. But she wasn't wearing her armor, and this displays her sexy characteristics. If Asher sees her now, he would be bewildering because even he didn't see Black Fox like this before. Black Fox was actually a gift or simply a slave given to Asher by his mother. His mother was from the Grant family, the second-ranked family of the inner region. That's why Asher's position was high in Kelby family, and no one dares to mess with him. Plus, he was talented himself. When he received Black Fox, all those years ago, even at that time, she was wearing black armor, and this fox mask was on her face. She was like an emotionless puppet. Asher's mother only told him not to try taking off her mask ever, so he never really cares about it much. Since she was talented and get the jobs done, and that's what matters the most. Black Fox gracefully enters Ace's room while holding the tray of dishes in her milky hands and closed the door with invisible vigor. She placed the tray on a wooden table, and she sits in one of two chairs around the table. You should eat first, or it will get cold. Her voice was like warm wind in cold winter, very pleasant to the ears. Ace was flabbergasted by this sudden development and dumbfoundedly watched this fox mask lady. He nearly let go of his sword after hearing her beautiful voice. There was some kind of bewitching power mix in it, and Ace thinks she was not an enemy. But he quickly sobers up because of his soul sense, and most importantly, that Black Fox mask was giving his soul sense a gloomy feeling. You? Who are you exactly, and what do you want? Ace points his sword tip at her mask. She's dangerous. A surprised glint flashed past her eyes after seeing Ace wasn't affected by her mind skill. You can eat first, then we can talk. Black Fox said naturally as if it was her own room, and this time didn't use her skill again. Just say what you want and leave. Don't force my hand. Ace threatened. I know the infamous black ghost of the outer region is not easy to deal with. Hence, I'm not here to pick a fight with you. I'm only here to form an equal partnership. Black Fox stated honestly while placing her hand under her chin. A tremor ran through Ace's body after hearing the black ghost name, and his heart turned cold. How did she find out? This was the only question in his mind right now. Ace was extremely sure about carefully hiding and cleaning his tracks. But this masked girl exposed him 2 days after coming into the inner region. This was a huge blow to his self-esteem. Ace tightens his grip on his sword hilts and is about to attack by using the dual shadow swords technique when the masked girl timely raised her snowy hand in the air and speak innocently. Look, I don't even have any weapon. You aren't going to attack a harmless girl like me, right? And don't worry, your secret is safe. With me, only I know about it. When Ace heard this, he forces himself to calm down and ease his grip on his sword hilt a bit. But he didn't put away his swords. I don't know what you're talking about, and I never heard of this name before. Ace calmly retorted, but his heart was thumping like crazy. He didn't know how this girl come to this conclusion, but she didn't have any evidence of him being Black Ghost. Even if things go south, he was confident in his escaping abilities. He didn't escape till now, and still talking to her, because he didn't sense any malicious intent or hidden intention from her soul fluctuations. Hi. You hide your traces quite well, even I didn't find any information about you first, and you even sneak into the inner region without alerting anyone. I must say I'm quite impressed by your abilities. But you make a huge mistake, and that was you sells your spoils to Kelby's shop, meaning you go to the same person's shop who was investigating you. She giggles while pointing out Ace's mistake. I don't understand. Ace sighs deeply and drops the act. He could sense this girl has some solid evidence on him. Moreover, she has no hostility towards him, so he asks her to explain herself clearly. Ace was quite perplexed now. Even if he goes to Kelby's shop, this didn't mean anything because so many people make some kind of deals like him daily. It's like this when you stole from that fatty. Asher was already on your tail. He is an extremely greedy and ambitious person when he heard you opened a 1-star treasury without alerting anyone and even disable an illusion array. He grasped that you have some kind of treasure or secret skill and wanted that skill for himself. That's why he ordered me to search for you. But you were too good at hiding your trails, and even I, who is good at finding people, can't find any trace of you. But I do investigate what you steal from that fatty's shop. Black Fox and giggles like a kid who just solved a great mystery. So you're saying you come to this conclusion by the numbers of pills I robbed from Billy? No, this is not it. I ate one of the pills before, therefore the number was the same. Could it be the nature of pills? Ace was very smart and instantly find many loopholes in her explanation, and apparently, it was not enough to reveal he was the Black Ghost. You are right, it was not the number of pills, nor was their nature, but Black Fox's fox-like eyes flicker mysteriously before she continues. Can you explain your identity as Ace White? Who should be in outer region slums now, but how could he be in the inner region without anyone knowing about it? She shoots questions at Ace like arrows. Sigh. Ace lamented. What makes you think a mere commoner can become Black Ghost? Ace puts down both swords and sits opposite Black Fox and starts eating. He surrenders completely before this masked lady. If she really wanted to harm him or covet his secrets, she just has to tell Asher he was here and didn't even need to tell him he was Black Ghost. Asher would come here with an army because he hated Ace to bone after what Ace did. I guess it because only your little hut in slums was empty. When I asked around your neighborhood, they said strangely for a month you always stay inside the hut and didn't go to your work either. Your little sister mysteriously vanishes a month ago and after you as well. First, I think you were just a random, pitiful kid who was searching for his missing sister, and I didn't put much attention on you. But after what you did to Asher today, and Caleb described your appearance, I immediately connect the dots, and here, I am paying you a friendly visit. Hi. Black Fox chuckles vigorously. She watches Ace eating his dinner, who didn't seem like the person that was about to attack her a few moments ago. I must say I'm impressed. Now, tell me, why didn't you tell Asher? Didn't you work for him? Ace asks while keeps eating. He was secretly absorbing the chi while talking, and his soul sense was solely locked on Black Fox. If he senses even a little bit of hostility from her, he would escape. I was working for him until I find you this morning and finally see a ray of hope. Black Fox's eyes shimmer excitedly as she looked at Ace's handsome face. What do you mean, ray of hope? Ace was bewildered. I always wanted to be a thief, just like you. Black Fox's fox-like hazel eyes begin gleaming like stars. WW what? Ace nearly choked on food when he heard her words. Why are you crazy? Chinese-style dress.